Is Hey guys, no long time no see. It's been quite some time. I don't even recall the last time I actually did a live stream on here, but today we're diving into Nikki Thought and the ex-boyfriend Jamie something. So we're diving Jamie Perkins. So we're diving into them because they've honestly had drama going like on and off for what 3 years or 3 plus years. If you don't know who these two are, let me just pull them up real quick. Um, yeah, so if you don't know who they are, this is them. And they were really famous for honestly being like that interracial couple. And honestly, this is why it actually sparked my interest. I'm like, what happened here? And also Troy's TV, he recently also did a video as well. So these two, they were very popular OG YouTubers, and it was all Candy Kings and Lollipop. And then what, 3 plus years ago, they separated, and initially Nikki, she put out a video saying she mentioned God and how she just felt like, something was wrong with the relationship. It was not right. To sum it up, that was the video that we got. And no one really knew what happened because Jamie, for sure, he didn't really come out and didn't say much about Nikki at that time until recently. Recently, my friend actually messaged me this hour freaking long video of Jamie Perkins basically going ham on Nikki Thought, his now ex-wife. And so we're going to react to that because I'm curious, and I actually have been known to take some sides because when I did get a glimpse of the video that we're going to watch. Let me put that on the screen real quick. Uh I did get a glimpse of the video, and it's very clear that they both are just in the wrong. They both seem pretty dirty to me. They both I mean, there's a lot of questions I have for him. And then she also recently today, as of like 7 hours ago, posted on her Instagram a response to all of his, accusations. So, we're going to watch this video, and to keep in mind, Jamie did take this down. Wonder why, but he did take this down. So this YouTube black screen or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, I'll like it. Thank you for re-uploading it for us. And yeah, let's watch. Pull it up.
I want to say before I get into this video that this video isn't a family-friendly video, and if you're watching with your kids, please turn this video off. This video isn't a video for young eyes. If you are a kid and you're watching this video, please turn this video off, because I understand over the years you guys have trusted me to provide family-friendly content, and this isn't a video that's for the whole family, because today's video is going to be pretty full on. I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I've gone through over the past 4 years, and then things that I went through during my marriage as well. I'm going to talk about why I eventually left Nikki. I'm going to talk about the unfaithfulness. I'm going to talk about family violence.
Okay. So that's where I'm kind of like, ooh, family violence, what's going on? To me, I am a huge believer in from just what this how many seconds, almost a minute into the video, I am a huge believer in that you can tell your own truth, tell your own side of the story, that's for sure. But at the same time, I always think of the kids in this because now, I mean, although he deleted this, if you go on to little like blog sites and stuff, this video is up there. Just to me, this isn't a smart move. However, at the same time, I do believe that you also need to tell your truth because if there are fake stories out there about you, or if I don't know, for me, if there was fake stories out there about me, I think I'd like to have some input, say something. But that's the thing with vlog channels. I mean, I do watch vlog channels, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, have this huge stance against it. However, what I will say is that I'm kind of interested when he mentioned the violent part. I'm like, damn, press play.
I'm going to talk about some things that I've never wanted to talk about.
Okay, one more thing, and I'll be quiet real quick. Okay, so if you film videos, don't you sometimes like ask yourself, is this like BS right now? Is like what we're seeing right now, like the action, or is this real? As someone who watches videos, a lot of YouTube, sometimes you have to ask yourself, like, what am I really looking at right now? So that's what's going on in my head. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
I talk about this 4 years later. Well, in the beginning, as I said, I never wanted to talk about it because I hoped that things would get better. But then as I went through my long divorce, I didn't want to talk about it while the divorce was still going because I was scared that I may lose even more from talking about it. So I never wanted to take that chance. I need to talk about it as well because I need to
Let's talk
explain
about it.
why I'm not
Actually have to.
thing is just
I don't want to skip anything. I've set some time here. I have enough time to actually react to this whole entire video because I do feel like it's important, but I'm like, okay, like can we get to it?
support me as I go ahead and support the girls.
I'm not dropping no damn kids at no police station.
You have to. You have to. You actually have to.
That proves you don't care about these kids. Because
No, it proves I do because I'm protecting their safety. I'm the one protecting their safety.
The thought of a police last time. Did you not hear her last time?
I'm protecting the children from their safety. You've been violent. You've hit me in front of them. You've abused me in front of them.
That does not make them violent people. Let me remind you
Okay, so off the bat, she responds, that does not make them violent people. She doesn't say, no, I have never hit you. She responds by, simply saying that does not make them violent people. So if you ever had to ask, did she really hit him? That's a clear response. Now, I get how, like, how on social media you come across these videos where people are fighting or whatever, or like that rude customer, that Karen. Excuse me. Drinking that's why. But I do question like what transpired before but I get that you can also, in his defense, you can't always, when something's like happening in the heat of the moment, then you're like, oh my gosh, I need to press the record button. But I will like to see if he presents any information that happened like in the beginning. You know what I mean? More context. And we're going to get into Nikki's response, which she posted on Instagram. We'll get into that. But right now, it seems like we're in the middle of a heated argument. We don't know what happened prior, but she is definitely admitting that she's hit him because your response is, "Oh, you've hit me before," and that doesn't make my kids violent. That means you've definitely hit him before.
right now who you are. You are not shit. You ain't never been shit from day one. You will never be shit, you motherfucker. Try me. Fucking keep trying me.
I'm not trying you. I'm trying to be fair and I'm trying to protect my safety and the kids' safety.
I will expose your ass. I swear to God I will. Keep fucking trying me, Jamie. I swear to God. No. I've had enough of this motherfucking shit. At the police station.
I think the only person who can be exposed is you. You're the cheater. You're the violent person. But I'm not doing that because I don't want my kids to have to see the real you on the internet.
Where have I been? Why did I just vanish from YouTube? It's been months since I posted a video and I feel like I can't come back to YouTube.
Okay, so if this is really truly a real upload, I just want to say, like, why is the editing? Why did we not hear the end of that? You know what I mean? Like, already I'm not really trusting this. Because it doesn't, if this is the original, because it says re-upload, and I think this YouTube channel just re-uploaded the video. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why did he cut it? I understand you can't get the beginning of a conversation, but I definitely want to hear the end of it.
Without being just open about what my life's been like for the last.
And Sage, Sage, hope you're doing well. Haven't heard about this yet, so looking forward to reacting to it with you. We're 3 minutes into their video and this feels icky, like they're using the internet to win a divorce or custody battle or something. As the internet, this isn't any of our business. That's how I feel, but who am I? I know it really isn't. No one asked. It does seem to me, and like I said, I didn't watch the whole video yet, but it does already seems to me like the only reason he would upload this if how is it gonna benefit him? And so I'm trying to, like, look at how this is going to benefit him because, yes, you wanna tell your side of the story, but why not have done that 3 years ago? What's different now? So that's kinda what I'm paying attention to.
Last 4 years and why I just gave up. And there's just so much to unpack. I don't know how to put it all into a video. And then I can't talk about all of it because, I've been through the court system for a long time and I'm not able to talk about any of that stuff. My divorce only just finalized in March. Over the years, I've had to spend about $160,000 just on legal fees. And coming up
Damn.
with that money over the years has been incredibly hard. There's been moments where I just didn't know how I was gonna get that sort of money. I've been quietly struggling for a really, really long time, and I've just been in fear. I've been living in fear. I've been living in survival mode. Pretty much on autopilot for a really long time, just trying
I'm
to
gonna speed this up.
maintain my place as a father in Ava and Zoe's lives. Years ago, when I found out that I was going to have to go through stuff to remain in their life, I made a solid decision that I would do anything and everything that I had to do to remain a present father in their life, to remain, to have a meaningful relationship with them. I told myself if I have to go broke, if I have to give up absolutely everything, I'll do that because the most important thing to me in life is being a father to Ava and Zoe. And I've been through hell and back to remain a father. The only way I can describe the feeling of when I found out that I was going to have to go through so much to remain a father is it felt like I got hit with a tidal wave. And I felt like Jamie, the individual, got washed away in one direction, and it was as if he was never seen again. And Jamie, the father, got washed in another direction, and he survived. And that's kind of all I've been ever since. All I've really been able to have the strength to be is to be a father. It's like I've forgotten a lot of things that used to make me happy, that I used to be interested in. Even, I guess, like one of the best ways to explain it is I used to be a music nerd. I've always been really into music, and a lot of the time I struggle to enter.
Okay, so this situation, him getting a divorce, what's going on in his family, um, he sounds like he's going through depression. Um, that sounds like what he's trying to say. Okay.
Conversations about music and artists that I used to be really into and music history and stuff like that. It's like I've forgotten so much about things that I used to really care about. It's like that part of me was just washed away. And, over the years, it's just like everything's about being a dad. People always like, what else are you into outside being a dad? We only see you being a dad. Being a dad is my everything. It's my existence. It's what I've just poured my whole life into because it's something that's just been so incredibly important to me. And my life has just been made to be incredibly difficult over the years. When I first left Nikki, I truly hoped that we would be able to co-parent. I hoped that she would stay in the house that we lived in because it was her dream house. It was a house that I never wanted to get. It was in an area that I loved, but I didn't want that house. And I really didn't want to renovate that house. I knew it was a bad idea. I knew how controlling Nikki was and how she got. And I knew with a newborn baby and how overworked I was, it was a bad idea, but she insisted. We made an agreement that we wouldn't do the renovation ourselves and that we would budget and pay somebody else to do it all. And then after we bought the house, she just went back on that agreement and it caused a lot of drama. And we went over that budget that we'd agreed on. It was just, that whole experience was a nightmare. It never felt like a home. It just felt like her thing. And I wasn't really allowed a say in any of it. And so I just assumed that she would keep that house and I would.
Oh my gosh. I'm so bored. All right. So far, the only thing I'm picking up, honestly, is that he didn't really have a say. And I think he's trying to put that narrative out there that she was really the one who wore the pants in the family. And I mean, I think that was kind of obvious with at least financially, that was obvious because Nikki thought she was a model for years. She was, popular. Even her sister was a model or is a model. So she's the one who people were really watching anyways. So it would make sense that in this relationship, she would I don't know, wear the pants in the family, so to speak.
We would try and co-parent for the sake of the girls that we both loved and both still do love. But she left. She didn't want the house. I got stuck with it. I got stuck with paying the mortgage myself. The renovation still was unfinished, and she actually tried to make me pay for most of the renovation that needed to be done as well. I got stuck with the body corporate fees, with the rates, and she moved an hour and a half away in good traffic. In peak hour traffic, it was about 2. And then I got hit with you can see your kids every second weekend, and then every second Wednesday from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. And I feel like I can talk about this because I don't watch her videos, but people tell me when she makes videos and talks about certain things. And I'd been told that she had made a video way back when, where she had said that the girls lived with her, and that was the arrangement. So that's what the arrangement was. It wasn't one that was, like the judge didn't come up with that arrangement. She did. But in Australia, it's hard to get the right citizen. I'm being very careful with how I word this because I don't want to talk about anything that I'm not supposed to talk about. But because it's not, information is already out there, I feel like I can. So that was quite difficult. I say quite difficult. It was the hardest thing I ever went through, seeing the girls that little. And she got to the point where she would refuse to even help with pickups or drop-offs. So I was having to do all that driving on Wednesdays. It was particularly hard because I would hit peak hour traffic on the way there, and then peak hour traffic when I was returning them.
All right, so it sounds like he's saying Nikki made life hard for him when she left, when she decided to live an hour away. He couldn't, pay the renovations on the home. He couldn't. I don't know. For me, my mom has always taught me that, when you do get a home, make sure, or if it's an apartment, whatever it is, you always want to make sure that you have enough to pay. Like, let's say your spouse, your partner's like, deuces. You have enough to pay for the apartment or the house on your own. She's always taught me that. I've always lived by that. So, I mean, maybe the next relationship that he has, I don't know. Like, let's be real. Is he still living in the home? I don't know. And I don't know how Australia works. I don't know if he could get money, get alimony, get things from her. I'm just so uneducated about how Australia works with divorce. But the way how he's telling it, it sounds like it doesn't really work in his favor.
Always so excited to get back to our house and have fun. But the trip there was never too long. We'd get good traffic on the way back, and then when I would drop them off, I'd be exhausted from all the fun we'd had in those few hours, and I would sleep. But it would exhaust me, and I would literally just spend my time away from them, planning things to do with them, because that made me feel like I was still connected to them. It made me feel like I was still a dad somehow, like I was still in their life, like I was still present. And that was the hardest time of my life. And I wanted to be a real dad more than anything. I didn't even know where Ava went to kindergarten. Not only did I didn't get to be involved in the decision of where she went to kinder or when she went to kinder, but she was enrolled. I didn't even know where she went to kinder. I didn't know how she was doing there. I didn't even get access to these great kinder apps these days where parents can see photos of what their kids are up to during the week. And for the most part of her kinder, I didn't get access to that. I had to go through other means to finally find out that information and get to meet her teacher and find out how she'd been doing. And it was horrible. I remember when Zoe went to kinder, she had a Father's Day thing where the fathers were invited to come to the class and be involved and see some of their artwork and sit down and paint with them, and almost cried in that class because it just felt like such an honor being able to experience that with Zoe, because I just wanted that so bad with Ava. And it's been a long journey, and once again I feel like I can mention this because I've been told Nikki has made a video which has talked about the fact that we have joint custody. So I did eventually get joint custody.
Good.
50-50. I'm present dad, and I have been for a while. And I had to sacrifice a lot. Yeah. So once I was finally able to sell the house, I moved down here. Nikki didn't think I ever would move here. She knew where we lived would be very hard for me. I didn't know anyone down here aside from I have one good friend who lived down here, which was just a blessing that he lives down here. I don't think I would have been able to get through this transition without him. It's been incredibly difficult for work. To work down here, there's not a lot going on. Where we live is very far from the city. It's essentially the country. There's not a lot going on down here, especially for creatives. When Nikki and I first broke up, I had hoped to follow some of my dreams. I wanted to start taking risks again, because at that point in time, we both had
See, this is why they always tell you.
We both could have succeeded if things,
This is why they always tell you that, when you make it on YouTube, when eventually he had made it, he saw some results, was making money, maybe, or obviously not the same as Nikki was, but this is why they tell you that you have to, this is a business, right? I'm not on YouTube that much anymore, but you know, it's what I strive to do eventually, right? But I have something else going on for me too. You know what I mean? And it just seems like he put all of his eggs into one basket. I'm not necessarily blaming him, but I think this is everyone can learn from him. Like, you don't, just because things are all nice and dandy today, that doesn't mean it's going to be nice and dandy next week. You know, I feel like if you're going to do the social media thing, you got to make sure that you're not putting everything you have into one basket. You got to make sure that if Nikki, no, and especially if we go onto the video, because I've seen clips, knowing he knew who he was like messing with at least years on into the relationship, right? So knowing who she was, you know, it would have been nice to, I don't know, just take care of yourself. And I feel bad for this guy. The 15 minutes of this video, I can say I do genuinely feel bad for him. I'm not blaming him for like, oh, you should. I guess I'm saying, oh yeah, you shoulda, coulda, woulda. But I am saying like this is definitely like a reminder that just because you may have a great one moment, that doesn't mean that one moment's going to be forever, right? So you always want to make sure you have things into place. That's why I like putting things in my 401k or, you know, things like that. Like, you just want to make sure you're straight. So I do feel right now bad for this guy. I do. I truly do feel bad for him.
If we had been amicable and decided to put the girls first, we both could have had very successful careers. I wanted to start being creative again and take some risks and start traveling again. And I still wanted to do the family YouTube. And I've worked hard building this over the years. So I wanted to do that, but also wanted to get back into filming for other people, because that's always where I was the happiest. But when I discovered that I was going to have to, you know, do everything and anything to remain, you know, a really present father in the girls' lives, to fight for that, I made the decision that I couldn't travel. I couldn't get like a regular job because I needed to be able to be a stay-at-home dad. I needed to be able to put myself in a position where I could continue being a really, really present dad who can do all the school pickups, who can do the school drop-offs, who can, you know, do everything at home that I needed to do. And Nikki was never going to get a regular job, and so she always had that argument of she's going to be at home. So YouTube, the family vlog, was what I decided to focus on the most, because that's what allowed me to be the most present father that I could be. It's allowed me to just spend so much time with the girls. It's been the biggest blessing in the world to be able to share all these experiences with them and experience so much of their younger years in a way that I wouldn't have been able to if I was doing another job. YouTube has been the saving grace of our family since the beginning. When Nikki and I got married, or before Nikki and I got married, we had discussed in detail.
I want to know, did he get anything in the divorce? Because, like I said, I'm unfamiliar with how Australia works when it comes to divorce. But if that's the case, like usually in America, well, it goes by state, so it's not like a federal thing. But usually when one spouse is making more than the other spouse pays alimony. Obviously, there's like a lot of things that with each state it's different, but you would think, in my opinion, that he would be getting something from it. But it does sound like he did get the house and he sold it, right? That's what it sounds like to me. I want to know. It's none of my business. And none of this is actually any of our business. So whatever, right? I want to know, did he get any money from this? Like, after the divorce, did you gain anything financially?
And we both agreed that our marriage was going to look like us both working and being a partnership, being a team, and, you know, setting goals and buying a house one day and working towards that. And I've always had health problems since my early teenage years, which have held me back with work over the years. I've had my struggles. But when we first got married, Nikki decided she didn't want to work. Before we got married, Nikki worked part-time in hospitality, and then she did modeling on the side. It was her passion, and it was something that I believe, and I still believe, she could have been incredibly successful in. It's something that she's always used to talk about. Always used to talk about how one day she was going to be.
I mean, she has a million subscribers,
She was a very beautiful woman. I can't take that from her. And
a million followers on
you know, she went
Instagram.
to New York, and it didn't go the way that she thought it would, and that was hard for her. And then she got the opportunity to go to South Africa, and she didn't want to go. And I tried to put myself in her shoes, and I thought, you know, if I had an opportunity to do something that had always been my dream, what would I want to do? And because I cared about her and I believed in her, I encouraged her to go and take the chance, and I built her up and told her I believed in her.
Guys, I have this on 2 times speed. I have this on the fastest speed possible.
Subscribers who watched all of that and know, you know, it didn't really go as planned. And when she came back, she took that really hard. And I understand it wouldn't have been easy, because, you know, she built herself up and it didn't go the way that she'd hoped for. And I wore a lot of the blame for that, because I had encouraged her and I built her up and you know, made her believe that it could be something that it didn't eventuate to be. And she was struggling with depression and said she didn't want to work. She wanted to take a break from work. And initially I was supportive of that, because I wanted her to be happy. I wanted to be a good husband. Obviously, I'd never been a husband before. I'd never been, like, you know, in the provider role. And I just wanted to do what I could to give her the best life that she could, because she had
Hey, Dave.
She'd been through a lot growing up. I was just trying to give her what I believed that she deserved. And so I started trying to do whatever I
I'm
could do
like dying in
to
this
make things
video.
work.
I
I
just need
believed that
him to
eventually
get
she
to
would go
the
back to work and
point.
it wouldn't always be like this. And I was working 7 days a week. I had so many different jobs. I had, I worked in retail part-time. I was interning as a videographer, trying to learn how to, be a videographer and start my own business. But a lot of the jobs that I was doing, I wasn't getting paid for, or I was getting paid very minimal. So that wasn't paying a lot. I was picking up jobs with my dad on building sites when they would come up, just laboring. And then I was doing this YouTube thing, like the YouTube videos in the beginning that come out, I think like
Oh, wait.
once a month, or
I
sometimes
see
even longer
screenshots.
periods than that. I was spending a lot of time researching how to make YouTube
Whoa,
work,
whoa, whoa,
how
whoa,
to
whoa.
monetize it.
Damn, I gotta
we
go
get
back now.
$300 a month than that. But I was doing this YouTube thing, be a videographer, retail part-time. I was interning as a videographer, trying to learn how to, I worked in retail part-time.
All right, what is he saying? Okay, so we gotta read. Screenshots are important. We're definitely not gonna walk through these. Okay. So he says, me begging her to help me to be able to work a 5-day work week for the sake of my health. It wasn't that I was a bum or lazy. My health just couldn't handle it. I had been begging both before and after she started studying part-time. Me begging her to work led to her saying she wanted to leave me. Huh? Okay, let's see. Where are you? Are you okay? That's weird. It went from like green to blue. Where are you? Are you okay? Can you at least let me know if you're coming home tonight? Oh, wow. Wow. Good night. Love you. It sounds like she blocked him. So she messaged him, like, this is iPhones, and then he got the green. And now she unblocked him. Wow, that's what it looks like. Anyways, let me put this on a bigger screen. I honestly just feel like a burden in your life now. I know I'm not perfect, but I don't think I deserve to be told such words. I'm confused. Is this him or her? Oh my God, hold on. We're going to read. I honestly just feel like a burden in your life now. I know I'm not perfect, but I don't think I deserve to be told such words. You know what nursing means to me. It's incomparable to the other things. For you to say I'm just taking the easy way out shows that you don't think I'm shit. Shows you don't think I'm shit. And once your partner thinks you aren't shit, they will always feel that way no matter what you do in life. Jamie, you and I are a team on YouTube. I mean, sure, I don't work nearly as hard as you do at your job, but the fact that the rent is already taken care of doesn't relieve any stress. Not at all. I'm not saying I'm not going to work. I'm saying I don't think you should. Okay, so this isn't what he's saying in the audio isn't aligning with the messages here because he's saying me begging her to help me to be able to work a 5-day work week. Okay, but that's not I'm not reading the same thing that he's reading. I'm reading that she thinks they needed to go to couples counseling because there needs to be a third party in the room so that way they could kind of like have that third party be like, no, this is what Nikki is saying, and Jamie, this is what Nikki, this is what really Jamie is saying because this doesn't. Because she's saying you and I are a team on YouTube. I mean, sure, I don't work nearly as hard as you do. Yeah, I'm not picking up what Jamie's putting down here. Sage says, wondering the same, Dave. The info he's sharing feels more appropriate for a therapist. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. Let's continue. Now we got to pause because now don't.
I was interning as a videographer, trying to learn.
Okay. Okay, now this is finishing up the receipts here. I'm not saying I'm not going to work. I'm saying I don't think you should give me that reaction when I do contribute too. You just see that as nothing though. If I had a part-time McDonald's job like you were wanting me to do months ago, that is equal to what we get vlogging anyway. My phone's about to die. And then Jamie goes on to say, that's not the case. I think highly of you, and that's why it frustrates me like crazy that this last year and a half of marriage, you have just watched me work my ass off for the both of us, for both our present and our future, and not felt compelled to do the same and push yourself to do more yourself to help relive the load that's on me and live up to our fair agreement that we made about school and work. I just don't feel that it's fair, especially when I know that you're 150% capable of doing so much more with yourself. My frustration is that I know you have all the skills to have already got your license a long time ago if it was really important to you and have been working on your own side business to help us. Okay, so now I understand what's going on. Got it. Okay, so I guess I understand where both sides are coming. But didn't she say like, but how are you stressed when the rent is already paid for and when all of this is paid for? Didn't she had already say that? But it does sound, generally speaking, that he wanted her to kind of split everything financially so that way he's not carrying this huge financial burden, which is so crazy to me because isn't she the one that like popped? Wasn't she the one like with all the followers, subscribers, modeling, gigs and stuff like that? So it's so interesting to see this. Her say, "You wanted me to get a job at McDonald's." So everyone keeps every single time people fight or get a job, McDonald's always gets hit. When people love McDonald's, especially their fries. Okay, I actually do not like McDonald's fries in the UK, and I recently tried McDonald's fries in Greece, and I still feel America is the best. All right.
How to, be a videographer and start my own business. But a lot of the jobs that I was doing.
Ooh, let's read on. These things, I just would accept that you can't. But I know that you're perfect. But I know that you're perfectly healthy, intelligent, and able, and that's why it frustrates me so much because I love you and I know that the both of us would be happier if you pushed yourself to do these things. I feel like we've had the I feel like we've had this fight for so long. You've seen how sick and stressed I've been this year and how I've still had to work my ass off every day. I never had this sort of responsibility before. It hasn't come easy to me to force myself to work so hard, to work for people like blank who I absolutely hated and made me feel like shit. But I used Okay, we're almost done. But I used you and our future as motivation to force myself to do it, even when at times I really didn't want to, especially when I was working for blank. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but I had to suck up my ego and do it for the both of us. Had my filming not taken off, I would be in a factory or in a retail right now working my butt off for the exact same reason I work so hard now. Love. Hmm. Yeah, these are like serious conversations. These are like because I feel like there's gotta be like, in my opinion, in a relationship, Dave, exit out, okay? Leave the stream. I feel like in a relationship, I feel like there's definitely gotta be tough conversations like this, like who's paying for what? Um if this doesn't go well, then what happens next? Or you know what I mean? Like I feel like these are those conversations you kind of have to have before you get married as well. Because it seems to me like one person is pulling more weight than the other. And usually when that happens, you get stressed the fuck out pretty much. So this is like, but what he's saying on video isn't like matching up to these text messages.
I wasn't getting paid for, or I was getting paid very minimal, so that wasn't paying a lot. I was picking up jobs with my dad on building sites when they would come up, just laboring, and then I was doing this YouTube thing, like the YouTube videos in the beginning that come out.
Okay, so let's see what he's saying here. For a brief period, Nikki edited the vlogs before we started adding B-roll and music, and she was really good at it. But when we started doing the consistent vlogs, it became my job again. Once again, this is something that y'all should have been talking about this shit. Like y'all because it sucks because what ends up happening is that when you don't talk about stuff, this is what happens. You end up resenting that person and then it ends up building up, building up, building up. And then now y'all are here. Well, I edited more vlogs than you. Do you guys remember Nikki and Gabby? Like they're still around. I think they recently just posted a video, but you know, if you don't recall, Nikki was the one who was editing more videos than Gabby was. And then Nikki ended up resenting Gabby later on because they were equally getting both pay, but Nikki was doing more of the work back then. And I feel like this is kind of the same thing here. Like all this resentment. Look what I did. I edited these vlogs and look where I'm at and look where you're at. That's what it's sounding like to me. But let's read this. It says, no, not a lot because YouTube vlogs YouTube vlogs aren't a guaranteed future, and I feel like you take all of that for granted. Yes, we make the videos together. Let me move this. Yes, we make the videos together, but it was me who spent months and months researching how to make it profitable and signing up for so many websites to promote our videos and replying to all the fan mail on Facebook. I appreciate that you edit the vlogs now and you're great at it. You do so much. Yeah. I feel like you're satisfied doing the bare minimum while having to blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Like once a month, or sometimes even longer periods than that. But I was spending a lot of time researching how to make YouTube work, how to monetize it, because we were getting a few $100s a month in the beginning, and that just seemed like free money, and I saw a potential in it. And I was working 7 days.
What? All these screenshots, man. Regardless of what you're earning, I don't think we would survive through that, and I wouldn't want to put our kid through that. Denying that, but I will skip down to here where he's like, okay, clearly, I want our marriage to work and I love you. That's why I stress so much about you acting so carefree about all this stuff. It also really hurt me that you walked out and didn't even reply to me and let me at least know where you were for the night and took off our sacred wedding rings. See, why do we need to know that? This kind of looks really bad because doesn't he start this video off saying like, I don't ever want my kids to see this? He says something along those lines. So this is not something I would ever want my kid to see. This is sad.
Because we were getting a few $100s a month in the beginning, and that just seemed like free money, and I saw a potential in it. And I was working 7 days a week. I was so exhausted. I'd started this channel years before Nikki and I even started dating, and I would post my music on it. I would post videos of my S2000 on it. It was just something that I did for fun. But then the proposal video went viral, and it sort of turned into something else. And Nikki loved watching vlogs. I didn't really see the point of vlogs, to be honest, in the beginning, but she was passionate about it, and I wanted her to have something, and I saw the potential in it. So I would build and build and build in hopes that eventually she would take over, because that was the original plan, that she was going to take over. That's what she wanted to do. She wanted me to teach her how to edit and film and things like that. And it did continue to take over, but for the most part, I was doing all the work side, and I was networking behind the scenes, and I was building and just hoping that eventually she would take over or get a job of some sort. And it never changed, and I was just burning myself out. So in the first, when we first got married, I actually had pneumonia twice in 1 year. I was hospitalized quite badly with it at one point, and I spoke to the doctor about everything that I was doing, how hard I was working, how overworked I was, how stressed I was, and my health conditions. And he's like, no wonder you've got pneumonia. No wonder your immune system is just so broken down. You're getting sick all the time. This is too much for you to handle. And she acknowledged that I needed to slow down, but just acted like I was overreacting about how much I needed help. And I was just always stressed. So I felt like I had to make YouTube work. I had to do something to make it work. And I was trying to build my video business at the same time as well. And it wasn't really making money, but it was growing. And I was so happy doing what I was doing with that. And I was so in love with Nikki that I just wanted to make our marriage work as well, even though we had all these issues around work and around her attitude that as a husband, I was just supposed to provide for her. And she wanted to just take care of the house. I wanted us to share the household duties. I wanted us to share the work. It wasn't like I was saying get a full-time job. She never really wanted to. And when it got to the point where, we got pregnant with Ava, and, she was desperate for children. And I was desperate to make her happy. I just wanted our marriage to get better.
I don't like that. She was desperate for children, and I just wanted to make her happy. That's sad. She was desperate for children, and I just wanted to make her happy.
Kept telling you if we have kids, things will get better. She would be more motivated.
No, I know. No. If your relationship's already going through things, having kids will not make it any better. Having kids is an addition. You're adding to, you know what I mean? It's not supposed to just take away all the problems you had prior.
And when it got to the point where, got pregnant and our channel blew up even more, I just felt like I kind of had to give up on my dreams and my job of having a film company and focus full time on YouTube. And she wanted me at home, and she wanted YouTube to be the thing so long as I was doing all the work. And that's kind of how YouTube was our saving grace, because we weren't making a lot of money before YouTube became a full-time job.
Okay, so he writes, the first house you guys saw was us living. House you guys saw? Okay, the first house you guys saw us living in was owned by a friend. We were technically house sitting, which is why we had so much nice furniture. Because of this, a lot of people assume we were doing pretty well. I did mention in at least one vlog that it wasn't actually our house, though. We also paid rent and all the utilities. We were very blessed. Okay, because honestly, I was like looking back and I was like, oh, I thought they were doing okay. But now, like, I guess, it's not all it's all cracked up to be. I guess, I wonder how much money they were really making on YouTube and stuff. But still, she has 1 million followers on Instagram. So, I mean, usually when you have 1 million followers on Instagram, that means you're making something from social media.
We were just, we were getting by. And YouTube, just honestly, like, we were blessed. We were beyond blessed with the amount of money that we made out of YouTube. But it was me doing the majority of the work.
Yeah, Sage, I don't know, because at one minute he's like, I wanted to be the breadwinner for her, and I am trying to reverse roles. Like, if this was a female sitting in the seat right now, how would I be reacting? And I feel like it's the same. Like, I'm confused to what he's upset with. At one moment he's upset because she's not working, but the next moment he wants to be the husband and like give her exactly what she wants, even a kid. But at the same time, he wanted her to work more. And then he's saying they really didn't have enough money. They used a friend's house. So I don't know. But then they have enough money for them to do renovations on the house. They're new. I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of all over the place for me, but we'll continue.
With YouTube. And the reality is, YouTube never would have been what it was without her. I'm not a narcissist nor delusional. People didn't watch the channel for me. He is charismatic. She's great to look at. She's funny. She's creative. She's somebody who is much more of a natural when it comes to talking to the camera than I am. I'm the type of person I like to be behind the camera much more than in front of the camera. So I've always known that people watch predominantly, for her. I kind of felt like I didn't have my own identity for a long time. I was just Nikki's husband, but it was the hit that I had to take for our family to have what I thought was the best life that they could have. And, over the years I did try and, say, take the channel, let me go back to work. I got my office and I would try and, go to the office, but she would always have excuses for me to stay home. And I wasn't able to have my own thing. So YouTube, it has been the saving grace of our family since, our family began. Without
Social media is still to this day her primary source of income and has been mine too up until recently. So without social media, I don't know where either of us would be. Okay. So that answers my question.
YouTube, I don't know how we would have gotten by with me being the only one working and how bad my health was getting with, the pressure of being the only one working. And now I can't do YouTube anymore. I can't go fully into detail, but essentially an agreement was made that I agreed to. It wasn't an agreement that, was written up by higher ups. It was just an agreement that at a very broken point where I just wanted to just end all this drama. I wanted to move on with my life, where I've been diagnosed with PTSD from all the stuff that I've been through. I have situational depression. And I signed an agreement that says I can only make one family video a week, which my channel is a family channel. When you look at the analytics, we go to what your subscribers have watched recently. Every video is always a family vlog. So the algorithm categorizes my channel as a family channel and pushes the videos out to people who watch predominantly family vlogs. So if I do a video that isn't a family vlog, it doesn't get put out. Like, let's say I do a car video and I title it with car sort of stuff. I put the thumbnail with car sort of stuff. When I put that video out, it doesn't get pushed out to people who like car videos. It still gets pushed out to people who like family videos. So making video outside of my
you can make this sounds so dumb to me, because you can make a video out. Can't you just make another YouTube channel and make a video that's completely different? I mean, am I hearing that, oh my gosh, I can only make one family, vlog or video a week? I can only monetize my kids once a week. That's how I'm making money. Is that what I'm really hearing right now? I mean, there's more to you than your kids. Like, you can't be just, this is what I mean. Like, see, I don't mind watching family vloggers, but the ones that irritate the hell out of me are the ones where their kid is like their primary source of income. Like, I love watching, who is it? Lauren Geraldo. I love watching her because she just gave birth to a baby and she's not making, like, she talks about her baby and stuff, but her kid, we barely see the baby. The baby isn't like the main source why we watch Lauren. And that's how it should be. He should get into this ideology that no. Let's start over again and people watch you for you. And yeah, you should probably start another YouTube channel.
Genre is very hard because people watch for a certain reason, which is completely understandable. It's the same thing with all my other platforms. I'm kind of categorized in that way. So there's an agreement in place where I can only make one video a week, and that goes across all my platforms. So let's say I make a 5-second reel on Instagram 1 week. It means I can't post my weekly YouTube video that week. The more my views go down, the less that I can charge for when I do sponsored videos, because sponsorships is how I've been making money over the years. I make very little money off of YouTube AdSense. These are sort of, some the months, sort of typical months that I've been having for a long.
Let's see. Ooh, here's one. Ooh, okay. This is interesting. 22,000 hours of watch time. Ooh, that's some coin. I mean, it's not like, I guess depending on who you ask, livable, because keep in mind he has to deduct the taxes and all that. Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Time, so it's not enough to live off to pay my rent off. I need to get
Mhm.
brand deals, but
Mhm.
brands don't pay for how many subscribers you've got. They pay for what your average view count is. So it's been very hard to maintain YouTube as something that I can do for a job, even though it's been what I've done for a job for so long. And I get more money from Instagram campaigns than I do YouTube campaigns these days. And then I also have the fear of posting videos that aren't sponsored, because the way my industry works is it's very fast paced. A lot of the time, a company will reach out to me and say, we need someone to create content in the next couple of days. Can you do a video? And, usually they're really fun videos that me and the kids, we love to do. Me and the kids, we love making videos, especially YouTube videos. That's where we have the most fun. Because we just get to have so much fun and do so many amazing experiences. And it's what's allowed me to be so present. So we love doing them for free. But it's like, I've had situations come up where a brand will come to me and say, hey, we want to pay, we need you to make a reel, something really simple in the next couple of days for us. If you guys having fun with a toy or something like that, just stuff we love to do. But I have to say, sorry, actually, I uploaded a video this week. I can't do it this week. Can I do it next week? There has been times where I'll just say, no, I'm sorry, but our campaign is this week. And so it's like, if I post a video I'm not making money out of, it can make it so I.
Okay, we get it. You got to find a new job. Sometimes shit happens. You got to. So apparently, what social media says out here on the streets is that he is working for Uber. Okay, like that's what people do. That's what your average, John Doe does or Jane Doe does when you out of work. I've done it. I've done it plenty of times where Uber has saved the day. I've luckily haven't to do it recently. I haven't had to do it for quite some time actually, but when time was rough, I did the same thing too. Okay. Like, I mean, this is what happens. Like, yeah, it sucks, but
Post a video, I
you
can
got to
make
do what you got
money
to
out of.
do.
And I need to pay my rent, because the way I've been living for a long
Yep.
time is I've kind of been averaging one brand deal a month. It was like a miracle. I would go through the month thinking, how am I going to get my rent paid? How am I going to get these lawyers paid? And then a brand deal would magically come through. So it would be scary to post something that was just something really fun. That, like, me and the kids, we always make videos for fun that we never post. And then stuff that I would enjoy posting, but it's like it could sabotage my chance of paying my rent that month. I was getting by living like this, with this one video a week type deal, and it was becoming harder and harder. And then in March, the divorce finally finalized, and it felt like I finally got to take a breath. And I started looking around at how much I've lost, how much I've been forced to sacrifice, and I kind of gave up. I've done a few brand deals over the past few months because I've had to pay my rent, and I know people get upset only seeing branded videos, and it makes sense. I understand people don't just want to see ads, and it's not what I want to give you guys. I want to give you guys genuine content. But
I'm just confused. I want to know, why did he sign something saying that he can only post like once a week? I want to know what that's about. Because you know how sometimes some YouTubers, what ends up happening is once they reach a certain amount of subscribers, then you like sign on with a company who then will give you a paycheck instead. It's weird, but they do these agreements with these companies, and now the company is going to be the boss of them as opposed to them receiving like a normal YouTube paycheck. So I'm just curious, like, what is going on? What is the deal? And can he make another YouTube channel? I mean, it's okay to start over.
as you can probably now understand, it's been hard. And I understand there's something really cringeworthy about an influencer complaining about not being able to, do a social media job.
Mhm.
Because social media, it is an industry that has absolutely no guarantees, and it is pure privilege and blessing to be able to say that your job, the way that you earn money, is through
Mhm.
entertaining people on social media. That's not lost on me at all. It has been a privilege and a blessing. I've been incredibly lucky. I've got to have experiences that a lot of people would kill for, and some of them I'm paid for, some of them I'm not. But I've been incredibly lucky and blessed over the years, and there's people in way, way, way worse situations than me, and that's why I feel guilty even in complaining about this situation that I'm in now. And if my career had completely ended on its own accord, I would just take it. There's no complaint, because it's a blessing. I've been doing this for 12 years. There's not many people, 11 or 12 years. There's not many people who can say that. So it's an absolute blessing and not a right. But the hard part is it wasn't of its own accord. The career didn't completely die on its own. And it was always going to go down. It's always been going down. But I still could have survived off it a bit longer while I finally got to pick myself back up again, because until the divorce finalized, I was focusing solely on getting to remain in the girls' lives as a real dad, not an every second weekend dad. and I didn't really focus on anything else. And it's only now that I can finally start thinking, what can I do with my life? How can I provide? And you know, I'm in a lot of debt
Oh
now.
my
I'm in more
gosh.
debt than I have money or assets to cover. This month, I'm not doing great anymore. I guess I've tried to keep up appearances over the years because I'm a lifestyle creator. So there's the pressure of, you know, kind of looking like you're doing all right. At least
No,
for
see, that's where people mess up. I think part of being like a lifestyle creator is filming those realistic, authentic, hard moments as well. And that's how you really can capture people is when you're being real. No one wants to be like, oh my gosh, guys, look at my new Mercedes, but then you can't afford food. You know, you can't afford, you know what I mean? People want real stuff, you know? So it's like, he is admitting though, you know, he's taking like accountability, like, you know what, I messed up. I wanted to keep up appearances for my YouTube channel. So I understand, but that sucks. Like he just seems really I feel bad for him. I'm still waiting for the whole abuse thing. I'm waiting to see what Nikki Thought did wrong. I'm waiting for all of this. So hopefully it is coming up soon.
Instagram. On Instagram, I try and keep everything polished because that's kind of what people want to see. So I've, you know, kind of had to invest in clothes and you know, things like that. The Porsche, the only reason I had the privilege and honor of having that for so long was, I think I can say this, it was part of an asset pool with the divorce. So it wasn't actually owned by me. It was owned by our old company. So I wasn't able to sell it. If it wasn't for the divorce going for so long, I wouldn't have maintained that car for as long as I did. But now I'm in a place where I'm trying to figure out what to do. I live very far from the city. So there isn't a lot of creative opportunities down here for someone, you know, with my skill sets. I'm decent with video, but I'm pretty rusty with traditional video because I've just been doing YouTube stuff for a long time. I'm trying to figure out what to do that I can still do the school runs with, because the girls live with me week on, week off, and I need to be able to get them to school and pick them up from school. My mum has moved down here and she helps, but she doesn't drive, and the bus system doesn't go near her house. So I have to get them to her house. So for now, the only thing that I've been able to figure out that I can do where I won't lose my place in their life as a real dad is Uber. So for the last few months, I've been an Uber driver. Some of you guys have, you know, you've gotten in my car and been like, wait, I know you, why are you my Uber driver? And for the most part, I don't want to bum people out, and I just say I'm taking a break from YouTube. But the reality is, this is how I'm trying to pay my rent. I will, like the week that the girls aren't here, I'll work 10, sometimes 12-hour days. This car isn't the most fuel efficient, so it's not the greatest car for Uber, but it's kind of what I've got at the moment. And yeah, I'll work through the week while they're gone, because when they come back, the original plan was to, you know, like do Uber while they're at school, and then do Uber, you know, like after school, after I drop them at my mum's house, and that's what I do a lot of the time. But because I live so far out, there's not a lot of trips down here, and I have to stay in this area. I can't drive to the city because, you know, within the time periods that I've got between school pickups and then between like, you know, getting them home to bed and bath and making sure they're all ready for bed. If I go to the city and back, like the amount of petrol I use, it sort of eats up the profit that you make. So I purposely stay in this area while I'm doing it. And, you know, like sometimes I'll go an hour and a half and then get a 10-minute trip, because people, you know, down here, they're just taking short trips. They're not really going far most of the time. There's a very occasional person going to the airport, which, you know, if it's on a day where I'm with the kids, I can't do those trips. Something I have to say is I'm enjoying the interaction with so many people. I felt really isolated for a long time, and I developed social anxiety, and this has been helping me get over social anxiety. I set a goal to find something that I like about every person who gets in my car, and most of them have been just so nice. I've really had some experiences I've really enjoyed, and I'm actually starting to see a bit of my old self come through again through conversations that I'm having.
I think it's also very clear that he needed this. This was very therapeutic for him, clearly. Because right now he's kind of just talking about how he's been living life and how it's great now and yada yada. And I'm just like, you know, as a viewer wanting to get to the point where he talks about him being in an abusive relationship. So I really want to get to that point, but this does seem to be very therapeutic for him. So
People, it's actually helping my healing, but it's not earning enough to be able to provide for the girls the way I want to provide. So I've gotten to the point where I've realized I can't maintain the rent of the house that I'm in right now. And I also know that that's a privilege. It's a privilege to have. It's a pretty nice house. It's a 3-bedroom house with an office and a hot tub and, you know, a small backyard for us to run around in. So you know, it's a blessing. It's not a right. It's a blessing to have a nice house. But the thing is, I know if I was doing YouTube consistently, or if I could do, you know, a few reels a week, I could maintain that while I figure out what my next move is living down here. And so over the last 4 years, I've just been in Nikki has been trying to end my YouTube career since we broke up. You know, in the beginning, she demanded I take down all the old videos, which I knew would really hurt the channel because of the way the algorithm works. Any YouTube coach will tell you the worst thing you can do for a channel is to take down all videos. But I didn't want the drama. I wanted us to be able to move forward. So I did it. And at the point that I did it, I'd finally started to gain subscribers again. You know, like I'm talking like a few hundred a month, not a lot. But before that, I was losing thousands of subscribers a month. And ever since I took down the old videos, I've been back to losing thousands of subscribers a month. But the channel has just been dying over the years. And the algorithm sees that because it's, you know, all machines you know, figuring out this stuff. That's a big reason why my videos don't get pushed out. A lot of people tell me they're not only subscribed, but they've got notifications turned on, but they don't get the notifications. And then, you know, I went through the cancel culture stuff. That was incredibly hard. When Nikki and I broke up, I made a decision that I didn't want to talk about why I left her. I didn't want the girls to find out. I wanted it to be something that, you know, when they're growing up, old enough to understand, perhaps we would have a conversation about it. But I didn't want them to know while they were young. I wanted things to not be as messy as they have been. I've dealt with the cancel culture.
So what has
rumors.
changed? What's
I guess I have to be quite careful in how I say this. So coincidentally, when everyone was trying to figure out what caused our breakup, and we weren't saying what caused our breakup, Nikki was coincidentally liking a lot of pretty toxic posts, and at that point in time there was like a feed on Instagram that would, you know, like you could just go to that feed and see what a person, you know, was interacting with. So all these people in the gossip forums and stuff were just running with whatever she was liking and coming up with rumors from it. And then at the time when Instagram changed that,
all right, so to me, I don't know, he's not saying this, but it does seem like what has changed, the reason why he wants to be outspoken now about what really happened with him and his ex-wife Nikki. It sounds like, you know, he's doing Uber right now, so it sounds like he's pissed that, like, you know, I ran the channel, I did this, now I'm only allowed to post a family vlog once a week. That's the agreement I signed. And it sounds like he's just like, no, like, I'm suffering now financially and you're gaining and I did all the work, so I'm really going to tell people, you know, what you did to me and how you really are. I'm going to show who the real Nikki Thot is, right? And now, because of all this, I'm not going to care that much about what my kids think anymore, because this is worth it to me. Maybe he thinks he might get more. I don't know. Like I said from the beginning of this, I do think that it's important for everyone to tell their truth. I do think if you have something to say it. However, I wish you would just get to the point already. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Jamie, just get to the point. What do you have for us?
You know, that interaction feed was gone. Suddenly she coincidentally started posting all these, you know, like quotes, like narcissist quotes and all that sort of stuff, which led to a lot of hate. And I think because I wasn't doing the same thing back, people just had this assumption.
Yeah, Sage, I'm trying to understand his perspective too. Like, I get it. You're pissed. I get it. But what else? You know?
That I was the sole cause of our divorce, and I dealt with so much hate over the years. From what I know, the cheating rumor started from I'm pretty sure a burner account leaving a comment on one of Nikki's Instagram photos about how I cheated on her, and it gained a lot of traction and remained there, and people assumed that was the truth. And then there was a woman who made a video titled "Jamie Perkins Cheated on Nikki," and it was to the point where when you type my name in YouTube, I believe it's still like that. When you type my name in YouTube, type Jamie Perkins, the sort of autofill at the end is cheated. So when people look me up, that's always what they see. They believe that as fact. That video that lady made got over 1 million views. I searched for it because it got to the point where I was going to contact her and just human to human ask her to take it down, but I noticed I couldn't see it anymore. So I don't know why. Perhaps she decided to have a heart and take it down. I don't know. But then there was a lot of other people who made similar videos as well, and that was hard to cope with, because the reason Nikki and I broke up was I discovered she had been unfaithful. She'd been going behind my back with her ex-boyfriend, and I'd been warned about him being an issue before I started dating Nikki again. And the first year of our marriage, I discovered that she had been secretly keeping in contact with him, and I didn't see her side of the messages. I saw the Facebook message. Like back then, Facebook used to email you a receipt of the message, and I'd logged into my Hotmail, and her Hotmail was still logged in. I saw all these messages from him, but she.
Let's read it. So he goes, I discovered these messages the same day she was actually with him. She had even gone to the extent of messaging him through an alternative Facebook. Okay. All right. He's mad. He's petty. To me, if I really wanted to get back at Nikki Thot or whatever, I don't know. It seems like this is a revengeful thing. Yeah, you want to tell your truth, but I feel like there's some information in here that's just like, I'm going to be petty. But to me, notice how he was just mentioning, oh, there's this video that got like almost 1 million views of me cheating on Nikki, and now I can't find it anymore. It's taken down. To me, is he alluding to he thinks that Nikki was behind that video? Is that what he's alluding to? You know, I don't know. But it does sound like there is some pettiness here, because we just need to know, like, your side, what's going on. But he wants to make it very clear that Nikki did, in fact, cheat on him.
He had deleted them on her Facebook, so I didn't know what her responses was. But this guy had been saying he was in love with her, and he told her to leave me for him, and you know, we'd always hear about him talking to people about how he was in love with her and how he was going to get her back. And I just thought this guy was a joke. I didn't think much of it. And in that first year of marriage, when I discovered that she had been secretly talking to this guy, it nearly broke us up. It took away a lot of the trust that I had for her, and we moved past it. And I feel like I blocked it out of my memory. It was like I just buried that, and we moved forward. And I never thought I would have to worry about this guy again. And I won't go into details, but I discovered some things I never thought I would discover to do with her and him. And I left. Our marriage had been struggling for a long time. For about 3 years or so, I had been desperately just trying to do everything that I could to fix our marriage, to make her happy, to give her what she wanted. Our marriage kind of went on her timeline. I was always obsessively reading books on marriage, seeking out different marriage counselors, begging to go to counseling, and we went to 3 different counselors over 3 years in hopes that one of them could help. Things weren't great between us, but I loved her and I wanted things to work, and I wanted our girls to grow up in a 2-parent household, and I was willing to do anything that I could to make our marriage work. But unfaithfulness was my one thing. I couldn't look past. And when I found out, when it was all undeniable, I left. This time it was different, and I left, and I was gone for good. There was no begging her to be with me. There was no begging her to make it work. There was none of that anymore. It was just like, I'm done. Let's co-parent. Let's end this. And that made her furious. And when I first discovered all of this, I told my parents and I told one friend. She contacted pretty much every person that I was close to and told them a whole different story. I've seen some of the messages people in my life have gotten about what happened between us. The amount of effort she put into trying to get into the lives of people that meant something to me was just, I never experienced anything like that. And it was crazy because when we were together, we used to actually argue over the fact she didn't really put any effort into trying to be friends with the people that were important to me, or, that she didn't really want my friends in our lives all that much. And then when we broke up, it was like, I have to make sure that I take whatever means anything to you from you. And I didn't really have the energy.
Okay, so it does sound, he's painting a picture that it does sound like she was the one who was like running everything in his life. I don't know. If she made more money, then it's very true. It's very possible that she did. It's very possible she was like, I don't want you to hang out with that person anymore. I don't like that friend anymore. It's very possible people believed what she had to say as opposed to him, which kind of begs the question. I just want to know, why now? I know they got their divorce was finalized this March of 2023. However, I'm still trying to figure out why now, because if that was the case, I would be so eager to be like, no, guys, this is the situation. This is what happened. Here are the receipts. So what changed from now to, and I'm not saying, me asking this question isn't me saying like, I don't believe him, because I believe there's definitely some truth to what he's saying, but I also believe there's low-key a show being played, some performance. I don't believe it's all fake, but I do believe there's like, this video has too many edits for me. So I believe that some of it is a little bit performed, but I just want to know why, and maybe he'll be able to answer that for us.
To defend myself from a lot of the stuff that went around. I mean, it got to the stage where my family overseas, my relatives overseas, were getting long emails from her, starting off with, I just felt it in my heart that I had to reach out to you and tell you what I've really had to deal with. And it wasn't just lies about me, it was lies about my parents as well. My parents who loved her like their own blood. My parents loved her so much. They did so much for her over the years. My mum would come and do so much of our housework. She just loved Nikki like the daughter she never had. My dad loved Nikki like the daughter that he never had. And when we broke up, Nikki tried to turn them against me as well. Not just telling them things that she claimed had happened to her, but telling them things I had said about them to try and break that bond. And my parents still loved her, but they weren't going to turn on their son. And when they wouldn't turn on me, she turned on them. And their life has been incredibly hard. It wasn't just me who had to move to remain in the girls' lives. My mom's 80 years old. She left Geelong. Geelong's 2.5 hours away from where we live. She left Geelong, got her own place. She's starting her life from scratch down here. It's hard for her, but it's even hard for her not seeing her grandkids, who she's always been present in their life since they were born. My dad's 75 years old, still works full-time as a builder in Geelong. He can't start over down here because he's not ready to retire yet, and he also can't afford to retire. So he works in Geelong 5 days a week. Then on a Friday night, he waits for the traffic to die down. He drives down here on a Friday night, gets to my mum's house at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then he spends all of Saturday with my mum and sees his grandkids. And then Sunday night, he drives back to Geelong and he does this all over again. And my parents are struggling as well. My dad's exhausted. He's always exhausted, but he never complains. He'll never admit to how hard this all is on.
Okay, sorry. This sounds like champagne problems. This honestly sounds like some champagne problems. Like, this is ridiculous to me. We get it. Like, I'm trying to wait for that big, like, aha moment. I get it. You had to work like a normal human being. I get it. And he does admit, and he does say this, that it's a privilege to have had social media as a job for so long, for 10 years, to be able to live off of that. Okay, you didn't use your money wisely. It happens, but it's just like, okay, I get that he really needs this, but this should be in a therapy office, in a therapist office, because I just don't understand what is the point of this? Like, what is I get Nikki is a horrible person. I get men can be abused. And honestly, we didn't get there yet. So I'm not commenting on it yet. But the moment we get to her being abusive, because we do know that in the very beginning that he played a phone conversation where he said something along the lines of like, you hit me, and she responds, that doesn't make my kids abusive. That doesn't mean my kids are going to hit people. Something along those lines, she says. And it was a very clear indication that she hit him. Like, she was not denying it for 1 ounce of a second. She hit him, and that's just not okay. So that's what, if this is going to be a hit piece on Nikki, then let's just start with that. Okay. She hit him. You forgave her when she cheated on you, so that to me is irrelevant now. So let's what else do we have going on here? But I do feel it sounds like I don't feel bad for him. I really do. It's just that he spends an hour and change talking about stuff that, as a viewer, I'm like, what is the point of this? But I do, it's not showing, but I really truly do actually feel for him, because a lot of people don't, even if he didn't like to work or whatever the case may be, that doesn't give another person the right to hit you. That doesn't give another person the right to put their hands on you to begin with, period. So that's my case on it. I don't believe in physical violence. I think the last time I actually hit someone would have to be at a teak fraternity party, when I was 19 or 18 years old. I think it was the last time I actually hit somebody in the face, and it was very warranted. It was very warranted. But other than that, I don't really believe in physical violence. I don't, and so for people saying like he's a man, he should suck it up, middle finger. But I'm not gonna put my middle finger up. But that's how I feel about it too. Like, you can't have it both ways. Because if this was a female, it'd be different.
On him. And it's hard on my mum being so far away from him too. Like, they're on the phone every single day to each other. They miss one another. They want to live together, but they can't. They can't at this point in time. My dad's paying a mortgage on the house that they have in Geelong. And when it gets to the point where they sell that house, there's a lot of work that will need to be done on that house, or demolished and rebuild something on there, because it is in a decent area of Geelong. And then they're paying a rental where we are now. And as their son, I should be helping them more. And I've tried to help over the years. When I've had more money, I have helped. But now I can't even afford, I'm not making enough money to afford to pay my rent given my current circumstances, unless like brand deals suddenly come through, which sometimes they do. So that's where we're at. Like, it's hard. And my dad lost his job of 18 years. He worked for Porter Davis. Porter Davis shut down. If you're in Australia, you'd know about how Porter Davis shut down. And luckily he was able to get a job with someone he'd worked with, like a guy who used to work at Porter Davis, moved to another company and was able to get him a job in Geelong. But down here, a 75-year-old man who knows no one in the industry down here, realistically, I don't think he'll be able to get a job here. So he just keeps working in Geelong. We've all just been doing whatever we have to do to remain in the girls' lives. But it's at the point where I've realized I've given too much. I've given more than I can give, and I can't continue this way. I want to be able to give the girls the best lives that I can, but there's just constant restrictions. It's like I'm constantly having to give up more and more and more. And Nikki, she's just wanted my life to be as hard as possible. Over the years, I've had.
So is he asking Nikki for some more money?
Obsessively telling lies about me and feeling like she's just going to demolish relationships. To the point where I just became a recluse for a long time. I had hardly any friends I spoke to. I had a few people, but I didn't trust people anymore. I didn't want to trust people anymore. I became really recluse. Like, when we went into lockdown, it wasn't so hard for me because it just felt like the life I was already living. And then I decided I wanted to try and be social again. I wanted to get to know people somehow, because I only knew one person down here. And I joined Dad's playgroup. And Zoe and I would go to it every Wednesday. By this point, girls were with me every Wednesday and every Thursday. So every Wednesday, Zoe and I would go to this playgroup. On Thursdays, she would go to daycare. On Wednesdays, she was with me, at home and at our playgroup in the morning. And she would get really excited about this, and I would really get excited about interacting with other adults, because for a long time I was pretty much just, it was just, everything was about the kids. I lost the sense of myself, and this group is just so important to me. And I love seeing Zoe play with other kids as well. If you watch the vlogs, you remember it as a community garden that we used to go and plant vegetables at and take care of them every week. And Nikki knew about this, because Zoe was always excited to go when she would drop her off, and I would always be like, we got dad group today, it's gonna be fun. And Nikki went to the daycare place, and she changed Zoe's day. She changed Zoe's daycare day to Wednesday from Thursday, so that I could no longer go to this group. Zoe was with me on every Wednesday, and I remember calling the daycare, and they knew that I had equal parenting rights, and they gave me a hard time about changing the days back. Eventually, I was able to, but I tried explaining to Nikki. I was like, look, I don't have friends. you made it very hard for me. You gave me severe social anxiety to the point where I don't interact with many people because I didn't want to have to try and defend myself to people. I didn't have the energy for it. So I just stopped interacting with most people. I had, one friend down here, and I was desperately trying to make some friends, to learn how to really interact with people again. I've been in therapy for a long time. I started therapy a year before I left Nikki. My therapist was really pushing me to, you need to start trying to interact with people more regularly again. And I tried explaining to her. She didn't care. It was just the control thing. It's like I felt like she's wanted to isolate me from people over the years. And she's been trying to destroy my career. There's just been a lot of control. I could talk for hours and hours and hours about it. I don't even know what things to talk about. Even just recently, like not that long ago, the kids and I, we were gifted an all expenses paid trip to Disneyland, flights, accommodation, special experiences for us at Disneyland, like once in a lifetime opportunity. And it just so happened to land on a week that was my week with the girls. And I gave her 27 days notice, and she was upset about the fact that.
Okay, so is this video is this him taking his control back? Is that what this is about? Because he's like, okay, Nikki did this to me. She gave me huge social anxiety. She did this, and this. Look, the only thing I feel sorry for him about is the fact that, he was abused by Nikki. That's what it seems like to me. And the only thing I also feel sorry about him, I feel a little bit, but I'm not like, I'm going to go to bed just fine. He did lose that income. With them together, it was stronger financially as separate. And to me, it just sounds like he's regretting like a lot of his past decisions. I'm like, dude, like what? To me, it's giving me, I really want to be like all the other YouTubers. I really want to be like all the other family vloggers I see, grinding right now and hustling and making their bank. I really want these sponsorships like all they have. And to me, I just think he needs to move on. And there's a way to do it. Maybe this is a way to do it, but then he took the video down. So now it kind of makes me feel like anything he says right here is not credible, because why did you take it down? But what's very interesting is today Nikki posted, and we're going to get to her post, but she posted something along the lines of, I made a video. I want to press the publish button, but I'm not going to press the publish button, which is weird. But he also took down his video. So was there a conversation that was had behind the scenes that maybe the reason why she didn't press publish on her video is because he took his down? Like, what's going on, right? And she claims it's for the sake of her children. I don't know, because if it was really, I don't believe anybody at this point, because she's sitting there gonna hit him with the kid in her hands, and now you care about the sake of your children. So I don't really know. I don't know.
I would get to take them to Disneyland before her, and now it's every parent's dream to do that. It wasn't like it was something that I planned. I'd been gifted it. She was also furious that I hadn't invited her, which we don't talk. We talk about things that are really important about the kids, and that's kind of it. So obviously.
All right, so let's read these. Let me roll up my bag. Okay. All right. I get that you feel left out. I'm sorry you feel that way. It's understandable. I admit I would feel the same way if the shoe was on the other foot. And I believe he's probably talking about Disney here. Let me read to confirm. Like you said, it's a bucket list experience for all parents and kids, but this isn't about you or me. It's about the kids, and it would be unfair on them to miss out on something so special because of those feelings. We're not together anymore, Nikki. And over the years, I've tried my absolute best to try and co-parent with you, even to the point of offering on multiple occasions to pay for family counseling sessions to help us with co-parenting, but you don't want any of that. I don't know what else I can do. We both know that with the way things are between us, we couldn't go on a trip together, which is why I can't extend an invitation to you. Our children are going to have multiple unique experiences with each of us over the years that the other won't be able to share in, and the other is going to feel left out at times. And it does suck, but it's the sad reality of a broken family. Please say yes and consider the girls and how much this experience would. What else?
Obviously, I wasn't going to bring a person who abuses me on a trip like that. That made no sense. And then
how this experience would mean to them. I think it would be really unfair to deny them this experience. Every kid dreams of going to Disneyland, and this isn't just a regular Disneyland experience. they're good. He blocked it out. They're good kids and they deserve the blessing that comes their way. And then Nikki responds, "My point is that I'm not blind to the fact that you habitually jump at every circus that comes to town," which again leaves little to no room for a first time experience when I choose to go out with the girls. We have already been here with dad. The girls continuously remind me they have many blessings and are very fortunate. So my answer is no. Additionally, their education shouldn't come second class, especially one which I've been forced to pay for. She's been forced to pay for. So I'm wondering this agreement. What kind of agreement they got going on? I can only post one video a week with the kids. I got to pay for school. I want to know what that's about. Oh, he does say I pay 50% of the school's fees for the record. He posts that in there. Okay. I don't know.
And eventually she used the
Oh, wow. Here we go, guys. I understand you have some concerns about school, and I could speak to their teachers and organize for them to take some of their work with them. Sometimes life experiences like this can teach and inspire children in really impactful ways, but I can make sure they keep up with their schoolwork too. You have also expressed concerns about missing out on firsts. Are there any other first experiences you would like to have with the girls that perhaps we could talk about? I'm sure at some point you would like to go on an overseas trip with them as well. I also think this is another reason why us meeting with a counselor who specializes in co-parenting could help us with communicating these kinds of things to one another in a relaxed environment and get a better place with parenting. I really hope you will consider that this Disney trip isn't about who gets to take them first, and that there will be many more bucket list moments for you to experience in the future. Beyond our list, this is a big one on the kids' list, and they're at the
excuse of don't want them missing a few days of school. And I was so heartbroken for the kids that I said, you can have the trip, take the trip.
More about this is a big time. And they're at the perfect age for it. It's something I don't see myself ever being able to afford for them, and I really don't want them to miss out. I think it's unfair on the girls to miss out on the Disneyland experience. So excuse me. It's these Excuse me. Let me read that again. I think it's unfair on the girls to miss out on the Disneyland experience. So if you would like to take them instead of me, I will ask blank if they're willing to transfer the trip to you. I'd rather they go with you than not at all. Let me know as soon as possible. Okay, well, that's nice. But, to be fair, my mom would not let me miss school for Disney ever. Now, if it was like a school field trip at Disney, that's different. But my mom would definitely not in a million years will let me miss school for anything. Honestly. That's just me.
I don't want the kids to miss out. The whole deal was apparently that she was upset that I was going to get to take them first, so I gave it to her. She didn't want it. She didn't want to have it. There's been so many other. I'm just talking about this stuff recently. Like it was my 40th birthday this year, and she's always giving me a hard time about turning 40. It's something she's always, made me feel self-conscious about, and I'm old, and she'd given me a hard time about that at a pickup, not even long before that. And I knew something was going to happen on my 40th where she would try and make it hard. And so I reminded her that, it was coming up. I knew she would have known because the girls would have been talking about it because they were excited they'd made some stuff for me. But I reminded her just to keep my bases covered because it landed on a week that was her week with the kids. And, our agreement is if it's our birthday, one of our birthday, and the kids are at the other house, we pick them up from, 3:30 and we have them until 6. And I reminded her, she got back to me the day before my birthday. I'd had a message from a dentist that I'd been to before, about 20 minutes before I got a message from her saying that a dental appointment had been made for me. And I thought that was strange. And I called them up and told them that it was a mistake, that I didn't book a dentist appointment for my birthday. And they said, oh, we're sorry, something must have happened. There's a girl with the same last name as yours who has a dental appointment that day. And I thought nothing of it. And then 20 minutes after that, I get a text from Nikki letting me know that both the girls have dentist appointments on my birthday, and that I can take them there on my birthday. I didn't even let her know that I knew she had literally just booked it before sending that message because the notification came through, and I don't think she would have thought that I would have got that notification because it was just like, what's the point in even bringing this stuff up? Because this is kind of how it is.
Like, I believe him. I believe that she was definitely petty. I definitely believe that she was like hardcore. This is his birthday. I'm going to book it. I believe she was petty. There's no doubt in my mind. I believe she was petty.
So this is the sort of stuff I deal with. I've dealt with violence as well. That was another hard rumor that I had to deal with years ago. I mean, it still goes around the internet. There's still people who think this of me, that I was violent. When Nikki and I broke up, I was receiving a lot of threats. She was threatening to tell lies about me on the internet. And she was doing such a great job of it with people in our life that I took that quite seriously, especially with all the stuff she was liking. She would come to me and tell me what gossip people were saying about me and rub it in my face. So I took her threat seriously. And also she had come to the house and been violent, punched me multiple times, kicked me, just being horrible. And this was in front of kids, in front of my mum, and things like this had happened throughout our marriage as well. Nikki
He's so fast with these screenshots.
was in front of kids, in front of my mum, and things like this had happened
I'm
throughout
gonna
our
read
marriage as
them
well.
all. All right. You started swearing, and let me stop. You started swearing at me and yelling to the point where Louis was shaking and then tried to make me into the villain for comforting both him and Ava through it. Is it Louis? Sorry, guys. I don't know their kid's name. You didn't see it, but when you first started screaming, Ava was on the floor and she full on jumped. But even if she didn't, it breaks my heart how often she sees me being screamed at. I mean, just the other day, you just went ballistic at me in the car for me suggesting you don't hold your phone while we vlog, as it looks distracting on the video, which is no different than you telling me not to say good morning because it sounds lame. You then went on to add all these extra things I apparently said and meant that were completely untrue, saying that I said you are distracted by your phone. Yada. Okay, this is all okay. We get it. Yeah. Facebook message from 2016. Okay, we get it. And this also clearly she blocks them a lot because why are they Facebooking? Huh? Or she blocks them a lot.
Nikki, she was like two different people. And that was what I always struggled with, because there was a version of her that I was just head over heels in love with. And then there was a version of her that I felt like I didn't know. And I never knew when that version was going to come out. And when that version came out, stick around for like a week or so, sometimes longer, sometimes less. And that version had a very...
Nah, I can't be playing around with him. I need to be reading these messages, unfortunately. Let me used to read these.
This was in front of kids, in front of my mum, and things like this had happened throughout our marriage as well. Nikki, she was like...
I can't even begin to imagine how you would feel if I constantly yelled and swore at you over the smallest little things. The fact that these very small things can escalate to the point that they do makes absolutely no sense to me. Typo. It also makes no sense to me that you can act this way and then not see it as a problem. Also makes no sense to me. The fact that you can act like that in front of Ava and also towards your husband is incredibly hurtful. It scares me to think about Ava growing up in this sort of environment you grew up in. It takes everything within me to stay calm and not attack you back when you're being like this. Of course, I don't want to give our daughter to you when you're acting like this, and it's as if you act like you're wanting to take her from me during these outbursts, as if she's yours and yours only. The fact that you were grabbing at her aggressively and even started physically pushing me while I had her in my arms and scared absolute. Okay, so part of me is like, she blocked him, so he's using Facebook 2016 messages to get to her, which is, whatever. But to me, that gets me. To me, I look at things too, like, okay, if I'm gonna show a court this, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna be as detailed as possible. So I'm also looking at it this way because now he can show this detailed message that he described what happened in 2016. So he's always had this in his mind, of course. He's always had this in his mind to eventually, if he needed to use this as proof, as evidence, there's actually nothing wrong with that. But I just want to note, no one is this detailed if they don't have it in their mind to like really show someone, so that way they can illustrate the situation, like what happened, what went down. And I don't know, like I'm okay with this. Like I'm okay with him being detailed, him showing the receipts. I'm okay with it, but I also feel like she did like negative or toxic posts about him, toxic comments about him. So I understand his pettiness. I understand that. But it wasn't like she like went out blown and made a full video of how he's the worst person ever. I do recall her making a video, and it was like what, 3+ years ago. It was a video. I don't know. She was like, I just knew something wasn't right. God, like, but she wasn't like being rude. She wasn't being like completely petty, But like I said, we don't even know what goes on behind the scenes. So I get why he felt like he needed to be detailed just in case one day one of us will see it. But he's coming off a little whiny. He's coming off a little, and when I say that, I don't want people to be like, well, if this was a female, would it be different? Of course, I'd say the same thing because so far he's just mentioned to talk about how lavish his life was to how it's not. But then he's also managed, but then I can't really, I'm kind of conflicted here because she shouldn't have laid his hands on him, period. Period. So she got anger management issues and she needs to seek some anger management help because to me, that's a done deal for me. The moment you put your hands on me, female or male, period, or non binary, wherever you are, don't put your hands on anyone else.
Two different people. And that was what I always struggled with because there was a version of her that I was just head over heels in love with. And then there was a version of her that I felt like I didn't know. And I never knew when that version was going to come out. And when that version came out, stick around for like a week or so, sometimes longer, sometimes less. And that version had a very...
See, Chrissy, though, my only thing here is that I would agree with you, but then I think to myself about the whole job thing. Like, I think to myself, if this was a female sitting in her car, crying, talking about what she's gone through, what she's been through, I feel like we'd all act a little bit differently, you know? So I'm trying to be as fair as possible here because I'm telling you, if this was a female, people are not going to be like, oh, she should have gotten a job instead of saving these screenshots like, you know, such and such, you know, years ago, whatever. I'm telling you, I feel like it would be so different if it was a female. So I'm not going to choose to look at it that way, even though I see you, but I'm not going to choose to look at it that way because I know if the shoe was on the other foot, I would not be thinking that way.
Violent temper. There was anger problems. And there was a number of times, and I won't talk about all of them, I'll just talk about things that I have documented that I can 100% prove. There was a number of times where she had, you know, hit me multiple times in front of the kids, where she would throw objects at me, objects that would hurt. She would hit me with heavy objects. I've had a lump on the back of my head from being hit with a heavy object. And
okay, let's read. Now onto you getting violent with me yesterday. Okay, so he just sent her like a novel this day. Oh no, this is 2018. Okay, Facebook message for 2018. Now until you getting violent with me yesterday. I honestly don't even know what to say about this. I don't know if you had your phone in your hand, the tap, or it was just your fist, but my head still hurts from it. There is nothing that can ever justify being physically violent with your partner. I agree. And you even did it right in front of my brother in the middle of our street for all of our neighbors to see, like some kind of world star hip hop video. What does that mean? Okay. 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 I think that this is the most you've ever disrespected me in my life. And over what? I honestly don't even know where you pull that excuse about me saying anything about Sarah from. It's like you wanted to explode so bad that you wanted to believe I was saying something horrible and subliminal. There we go. Subliminal behind what I was actually saying, and you just exploded. Honestly, you scared me. I felt scared like I did back when we were going through that really horrible period in our relationship, and I don't want to ever feel like that again. I don't want our daughters to witness anything like that. Ava's so sweet and innocent.
I was in front of my brother. My brother saw that. Very few people knew about
So
this.
did your
I didn't want people
kids.
to know about this stuff that I was going through. My parents knew about it because they had seen it on different occasions.
Let's see, read comments. Dave, let's get those likes up. Sage, I wonder if she'll be oversharing in her video. Well, she posted on Instagram that she actually wasn't going to post a video. I saw that. That was like 2 hours ago. I saw that. So I don't know. Chrissy, could he not use the energy to get a job instead, saving 7 years? Okay. Okay.
My brother knew about it because he had seen it once, and her sister Paula knew about it because I would go to her asking for help. Nikki had been through a lot growing up. And I don't know if that's the result of it, but that was an excuse that I would always give.
Oh, she apologizes. She goes, I apologize for hitting you. There's no excuse for there's no excuse for that. I'm sorry. That's what she wrote.
There were points in our marriage where I was very scared of her. I was walking on eggshells, and I wasn't scared of her like I thought she could kill me, like what women experience when they experience domestic violence. But it was a feeling of humiliation. I felt so small because I never hit her back.
Chrissy says his texts are so calculated. It is like he knew he would use them. Right. I do feel that because I just feel like the way how he's like, she was there. You're texting. If I'm texting someone, we just got finished with an argument. Why am I going into every single great detail that she was just there? Like she was in it. It's just between you two. The only reason someone is that detailed is if they know someday that they would have to use this in court or they would have to show us. So it was calculating. But then I'm like, she'd even admit it. She was like, that's not right. I should have done that. But it's very clear. And hopefully we get to this clip at some point. It's very clear that this behavior seemed to be something she was very used to because there was no way she had that baby in the hand and was just like, you know what I mean? Like she clearly was, this is clearly normal behavior in my opinion. Yeah. So, but I do believe, Chrissy, that, yeah, these messages were definitely calculated for this very reason.
And I thought so low of men who hit women. And I'll be honest, there was one day where I felt I wanted to hit her back, which was one of the scariest feelings I've ever felt because I never knew that part of me existed. There was a day where she tried to throw a camera in my face. And because she'd thrown heavy things at me before, I knew that it was real. And in self-defense, like I wanted to hit her and I felt my fist clench and I just left the house. I was gone for a few days. She ended up saying she would go to marriage counseling after that. And thank God I never felt like that again. But I feel like almost just a scarier feeling was when times like that happened again, I just kind of, I didn't feel the emotion. I felt small. I felt powerless. I felt humiliated. I felt like I wasn't a real man. And so when she was coming to the house being violent and making serious threats, and there was other threats made, got to the point where I had to install security cameras all around my house. And the house that I used to live in, it had panic buttons. It was in a bougie area, and there's a security guard office down the road. But I didn't feel safe, and I went to seek a protection order against her. And that was one of the hardest things I ever did because I felt like I was betraying her because I constantly just made excuses for why she had the issues that she had, why she would just have this uncontrollable anger. And I felt like she couldn't help it. I felt like there was two Nikkis, and I felt like I was punishing the Nikki that I still cared about because of what the other Nikki did, which just sounds crazy when I say it like that, but that's kind of how I rationalized it. But I knew that I needed to protect myself. So I went to court to seek a protection order. And I was still protecting her at the time. I requested that the doors be closed when I spoke to the judge. I requested that my name not be on the court, the court ledger, because I was worried, what if somebody who knows who I am is in there and this all gets out? And someone did recognize me in that courtroom, and they saw me holding a family violence paper somehow. They went on the internet and they said that I was there holding family violence papers. People came up with the assumption that I must have been there defending myself because she wasn't in the courtroom. But it was the other way around. And I got forced to the point where I had to talk about it, and I still didn't want to throw her under the bus. And I worded it and I said I've never been in court to defend myself, which was the truth because I wasn't the defendant. But I know it was dishonest. I didn't want to throw her under the bus, but I also didn't want people thinking something of me that wasn't true. So I said that I was never there to defend myself. And my lawyer at the time was telling me to sue this girl, but realistically, I don't think she had anything to sue her for. And the amount of money that goes into defamation cases, it wasn't worth my time. So I left it. But that's one of the rumors that I've worn over the years. I've worn the cheating rumors. I've worn the abuse rumor. And when the cheating rumors really, really got worse and worse, and I really got to the point where I felt like, you know what, I need to stand up for myself. I was fighting to be in my kids' lives. And going back and forth with her on the internet would not have helped that. So I had to choose, do I care about my kids? Or do I care about my ego, my career, and my reputation? And I'm going to choose my kids any day of the week. So I wasn't going to come out and say anything that could have affected my ability to be able to be a 50-50.
This is on 2 times speed.
I've always thought it was important, regardless of what my relationship with their mum is like, I've always thought it was important for them to have a mum because they love their mum, and I know that she loves them. And to this day, I would love to be able to co-parent with her. I've offered time and time again to pay for us to have family counseling sessions where we talk to someone who specializes in co-parenting. And the way things have been with her just seeking so much control over my life for so long, and the abuse that I've experienced, the control, it needs to change. I don't know how to change it. And I've tried everything I feel that I can try. I've sought help through the legal system. I've sought help through counseling. I've sought help through God and the church. Girls are thriving in the school that they're in now, but it is private. I need to be able to keep these payments up. And I'm stressed because I know I can't continue living this way. And I just want to be able to give them the best life that I possibly can. So this is where I'm at. This is what I've been going through for so long. This is why I haven't seemed like myself, because I've just been.
Does he show the video? Or am I just.
My self-esteem is just.
Okay, the video's at the end.
Sense of who I am outside.
Getting there, guys.
I'm just trying to figure out how I can move past all these obstacles that have just constantly been thrown at me. And from now on, I'm going to start posting more honest content about what I'm going through. The stuff that I have been posting with the kids and family stuff, that's real. That's us. That's the real us. But there's another side of my life, which has been the harder side, that I have been keeping private because I've never felt like it's an honorable thing to air your family's dirty laundry. But I'm at the point where I have to explain what's going on and why you're not going to see a lot of family content anymore. And I know a lot of people, it's not what they signed up for. And I understand that, but this is where I'm at. So from now on, you're going to see, probably like some Uber content, or I'm just going to make whatever I can because I need to figure out how to make a little bit of extra money so that I can keep going. This is where my life's at right now. And if there's anybody out there who can help us, please reach out because our family desperately needs help.
I don't mean financial help. I mean genuine help for our family and co-parenting situation. Yeah, but like that's weird. Like I mean, does he expect like the people who watch this to help? Like how would that even work? Now if you had someone like Mel Robbins or I don't know, like an actual or who is it? Is it Dr. Drew? Who is it? If he actually if there's actually someone I don't know. It just sounds like I don't get how he would how he's asking for help, but like how are you asking the people who watch your videos, the people who support you and her, how are they gonna help you? I mean, the one thing I learned about relationships is that you gotta be able to you can't force someone to do something that they don't wanna do. You can't if they're not there yet, you can't force them. It's unfortunate, it's a really sad situation, but in order to want change, that person has to actually want to do it. So, if there was anyone I would be asking for help, it would unfortunately be her. He does seem like he's, like, really tired and fed up at this moment, but there's really nothing like, this videos for sure would have not help. Like, this video wasn't if he wanted help with co-parenting, this video isn't it. This video is definitely not it if that is what you were truly wanting.
I'm not telling my story out of bitterness. I'm telling it because I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. This is the only thing I haven't tried. Sharing what I've been going through. I know people have seen it in my eyes for a long time. I've been going through it, but I've never told you guys why it's so hard for me. You know, I've talked about how I want to be able to go back to working a regular job. I want to get back into film, but I can't because if I can't do these school runs, I'm not going to be in the girls' lives that much. I risk losing them. And I don't have a relationship with their mum where she's going to encourage that relationship. Important things a lot of the time I'm just left out about. I mean, I remember Ava was in hospital with a suspected concussion. I didn't hear about it until the next week when she came back to my house. This is the sort of thing that goes on, and I try and keep her in the loop about everything that's important with the kids. Over the years, when she's been nice to me, I'm always giving her the same energy back. But when she's
Then
being
don't
abusive,
keep her in the
I tell her
loop.
to my shell because I
I'm
don't know how to
just
handle
kidding.
the level of conflict that's thrown at me. So yeah, this is where I'm at. This is why I haven't been posting videos in a long time. This is what I've been going through over the years. This is why I've never spoken up about why we broke up. I never wanted to. I never wanted to tell the story. But this is it. This is where we're at.
Out of the house, Nikki. Please leave. Please leave. Please leave.
Oh, now we can slow this down. Okay. Slow this down. All right. Let me pull up. So right now I'm about to pull up some stuff what Nikki had sent. Or let me just pull up Instagram. Hold on. I don't think you guys can see it. Before we get into those videos, let me pull up Instagram so that way we can look into her stories. Please have me logged into Instagram. Ugh. I think that's my Instagram. It's weird logging into Instagram on a desktop, but that's for sure. Oh no. See, I know my password. Come on, sign me in. I know that's my password. I just freaking signed up for it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'll just do it this way. I'll do it as a video, actually. So I'm gonna screenshot, like do a screen recording of her Instagram stories. And then we'll just watch it that way. All right. All righty. Well, let's watch this.
Leave the house, Nikki.
Oh, wait. The day Nikki came to the house and attacked me in front of my mom and refused to leave for 3 hours. Nikki had just been on top of me, punching me because I had told her that I wouldn't speak to her until we could have a calm conversation. Our counselor had told me we needed to take a 2-week break from talking until. Phew! Sorry. Excuse me. My screen recording stopped. Phew! Sorry. Okay. All right. All right, so then, okay, he goes on to say, our counselor had told me we needed to take a 2-week break from talking until things calmed down. Nikki was furious. I was asking for 2 weeks space from talking to her about anything other than the kids, and showed up at the house demanding I talk to her, which I refused. My mom had taken a child to the kitchen to get her a snack to try and distract her. Nikki, um, Nikki can be seen literally snatching her out of my mom's arms. Nikki was also accusing me of being the reason she was acting violent and that I somehow wanted this and that I also wanted a reason to leave her. Okay.
Please leave the house.
Look at you.
Please leave.
The house.
Please leave the house. This is violence. You've got the kids in your hands. Leave the house right now.
This is exactly what he wanted.
Leave the house right now.
This is exactly what
Leave
he
the
wanted.
house.
And look, he's getting video
Leave
evidence.
the house.
He's been planning this.
Leave the
He
house.
has been planning
Leave the
this
house.
from day one.
Leave the house. Leave the house. The children don't deserve to see this.
I think you need to take responsibility. Okay, yeah. All right.
Leave the house.
You guys will never see my kids again. You guys will never see my kids again. Ever.
That will not happen. Leave the house.
Look at you guys.
Leave the house.
Look at you guys. That's
Leave the
hilarious.
house.
Look.
Leave the house.
Whatever.
Leave the house, Nikki. Leave the
This
house.
is exactly what you wanted, Jamie.
Leave.
When Nikki would have violent outbursts, she would put the blame on me and say, because I know her triggers, which was pretty much anything if she was in a bad mood, that I wanted the reaction I got. Okay.
The
This is
house.
exactly what you wanted. You're actually
Leave the house.
exactly what you wanted.
And this is what I've been putting up with for years. Violence, all of this. And the kids have to see it. That's the sad thing. And never taking responsibility for anything.
I recorded this not only because I knew nobody would ever believe me, but also because I would get gaslit to the point I would sometimes question my own recollection of events due to her passionate retelling of them.
Any of her actions. Caught out trying to cheat on me, and then she acts like this. Instead of saying sorry, instead of trying to make it right. I'm sorry, Mom. You okay?
No, I'm not. Okay.
I mean, come on, this is still calculating. He's like, I'm sorry, Mom, are you okay? While still having to record the video on. I mean, look, I believe she's a violent person. I believe she abused him. These are all things that are very believable because we just saw how she was when she's mad. So it's very believable. And not even, forget what we saw, she admitted it and apologized to hitting him. So I do believe she was definitely violent, but not for a second do I believe all this was calculated as well. Like, I think some of this is performance. Like, Mom, are you okay? Like, come on. Like, you totally, come on. But yeah, I do believe if you are being abused, if someone is hitting you at the same time, it's like, press that record button. So, all right.
Where's your phone? I'm actually calling the police.
Yesterday, Nikki sent me a nasty message saying that she won't be picking Ava up anymore, and if I want to take her home on these Wednesdays, then I have to bring her back as well. So basically, I drive down, which is I anticipate about 2 hours to get there, depending on traffic. Sometimes if I'm lucky, it's an hour and a half, and then it's about an hour and a half back. So that's essentially like 3.5 hours driving. So I'm normally pretty exhausted by the time I get home. And then I'm going to have to do it all over again to drop her back off. So I'll probably have about 4 hours with her at home, and I'll spend about 7 hours in the car today. But it's worth it just to hang out with her in an environment that's familiar to her. I think it's important for her to have that home environment with dad still, and it not just become a situation of me seeing them and taking them to shopping centers, because I feel like that, I don't know, I just feel like it creates a subconscious relationship with dad. It creates a relationship with dad where it's just an outing type thing. Home isn't with dad, if that makes sense. And I still want them to feel like they have a home with their father, and that's why it's very important for me to continue taking them home. So that's what I'm doing today. A little bit emotional. It's a bit hard, knowing it's not actually a birthday, but I'm just trying to make the most of it. And, you know, I hope that things won't be like this forever. We're about 6 months, maybe 7 months into our separation. At the moment, I see things getting nastier with her rather than better. To cause nothing snap with it. It
Okay,
sucks.
come
Christmas
on.
Day was Christmas Day, landed on my Wednesday. And even with that, I was said, look, how about you have them until 2 o'clock in the afternoon? I picked them up at 2, realistically had them home by 4-ish. So that's pretty much the entire Christmas Day with you. And she still wanted more. She wanted me to pick them up at dinner. Had it been the other way around, she wouldn't have been as like fair as I was trying to be. And it's just negotiate with somebody who's like that when you're just trying to create a good environment for the kids. And even like I tried to make Christmas normal. When I got there, I had her and her brother were like, we don't want these, we're not giving them to them. And Nikki said in front of the kids that those kids they don't even like me anymore. Why can't you why aren't you giving the presents to your cousins? And I just said, life shouldn't be this way. Kids shouldn't have to see this sort of stuff.
Why would you keep me from even knowing where Ava goes to kinder? Like, do you know how hard it was?
That's for my own safety. I don't trust you 100%. Like, let's be real.
Over the years, the only person who's ever been violent is you. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah, but she could also say, so we've already said that her violence is, it's not acceptable, period. But also, if she's not telling him about a specific location, it could be when she says, I don't trust you, it's not for her own safety, it's not physical. It could be like online like this. It could be, how we know everything. So that could be what she's alluding to or saying.
Like, what have I ever
Because
done?
you have a whole lot more to lose than me, yeah? Like, I have a whole lot more to lose than you, is what I'm saying.
There's
like,
nothing.
You don't have family, you don't have friends, like, you're kind of depressed right now, whatever. You don't have your kids, like, you can act out.
All right, well, here's what I don't like.
I want to say before I get into.
All right, so we're gonna get into Nikki's her response, but I can tell you right now, she does apologize for. She apologized for saying like she definitely takes depression seriously. I'm paraphrasing, but she was called out for that. She got caught not caring about him being depressed. But you know what? When you have arguments with people, we say a lot of things, including myself. You say a lot of things that are heated in the moment, like, "Oh yeah, you're depressed, aha!" But that doesn't mean you want that person to, pass away or be unalive and all that stuff. You're just pissed at that individual. Clearly, they have a lot of things that they need to work out. So I'm not exactly shook that she said negative things about him or that she didn't care about what he was going through either. Facts. So now I'm going to send this video to my laptop. Pay attention to his tone. Get out of the house, Nikki. Yeah, he does know about her. Yeah, he does for sure know about her triggers. That's for sure. All right, now I'm gonna share the screen. What? Oh my gosh. Go to system preferences, unlock the screen by selecting the lock in the bottom left. My gosh. Sorry, guys. I'm having technical difficulties. I can't share my screen. Go to system preferences. Bottom left. Okay. It's not allowing me. Okay, let me see if I can share this one more time. All right, well, let me share it. So let me see if I can pull this up. Let me share that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to Google up the screenshots because it's choosing what it wants me to share. Nikki. But honestly, my conclusion, we'll get to Nikki's stories, but my conclusion kind of remains the same. I think they both need counseling. They're both messed up. For real. They're both like not messed up. That's a wrong terminology to use, but they have a lot of problems. Like they have a lot of anger. They have a lot of aggression towards each other. He definitely has a lot of resentment. He sounds like he still like wants to be with her, that he's still hurt, by all of this. And it's sad. Let's see. Come on, log me in. No? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to log in to my Instagram, and it's not letting me do it. Which is dumb because I just logged on to my Instagram on my phone with the same password. So I don't know what's going on. Chrissy, yeah, he wants to be with her. She was his cash cow, face blue, smiling. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's giving covert op. This man is not only lazy, he is also manipulative. He knows her triggers. That's why he's using that tone. Leave the house, Nikki. Like he's weaponizing private conversations and moments caught on camera. Yeah, he is. It's kind of like he held this "I got you" in the back of his pocket. It does kind of feel like that at some points in the video where he had this "I got you" in the back of his pocket, held it there, and wanted to pull it out as the last like possible thing left for him to gain and to rebuild and gain subscribers. Like this was it. So, but then he took it down. So it really has me questioning his credibility because I want to know, why did he take it down? That's what I want to know. And I want to know why she's not, why isn't she, uploading the video? Like, what happened? Was there a conversation that happened behind the scenes? I don't know. I don't know. Well, let me see. Oh, this might be it. Ooh, yay! I got it. We got it. Okay. So Nikki's response, she goes, I made a video responding to the allegations and was ready to press post. But for the sake of our children, I'm not going to engage in a back and forth online. I'll share context that was missing from his video and leave this subject alone. I've had no contact with him since he posted that video, nor have I threatened legal action. Jamie removed the video simply because he saw that people weren't buying his story. Now, for me, I mean, to me, I think she had a really great PR, because if you admit it and then there's like actual documentation proof that you responded and admitted to hitting him, I'm sorry for hitting you. She's not going to show, let's be real, she's not really sorry. Like, let's be real. Like, they're at a point where they're just hostile, in their relationship. Like it's chaos, right? Everyone's mad at everyone. No one's sorry for shit, right? But could you imagine a PR person saying, hey, make a video? It's kind of like that Ashton Kutcher and is it Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher when they had to apologize? Was it Danny Masterson or something? But they had to apologize for basically giving props to a person who R-worded people. And so a PR person, I saw a lot of PR people on TikTok, and they were like, the first things first, you never want to have someone who admitted to guilt, who did something publicly wrong. You never want them to apologize or say anything in video format, because that's when you have people like observe body language people. That's where you have people who will pick up to see if you're really sincere, if you care or not. Like, it's all going to tell on how you really feel regardless. You cannot fake it on camera. So I truly do believe that she had a really great PR person that told her, hey, your best bet here is to not make a video. Whatever you do, do not make a video. So this is a person that listened to their PR person. There's no way, if she had a video and she wanted to publish it, I don't think it's because of the sake of the kids, because let's be real. She didn't care. She had the kids in her hand and was hitting him. So I don't think she really cared about the sake of her children when it comes to this. I think she would have posted that video, but I think she has a really great PR team. Now, that is my opinion. Let's move on. Okay. I felt something wasn't right in my marriage, but I didn't know what I was experiencing. And she did say this in she's actually taking, I think, word from her video that she did over 3+ years ago, I think, when they first broke up. But anyways, I'll read. So she goes, I felt something wasn't right in my marriage, but I didn't know what I was experiencing. Then in June 2019, I came across the podcast Love and Abuse, where I discovered what emotional abuse was. I made this mistake of telling him I knew he was emotionally abusive and probably a covert narcissist. I never cheated on Jamie, and he knows that, but he was quick to run a smear campaign through the community about why we broke up. I want to make it very clear that what you witnessed was reactive. The clips you saw were carefully edited and didn't show what led to me smacking the phone out of his hand. Never have I punched this man or thrown heavy objects at him during our disagreements. So she doesn't say, oh, I never hit him, because she already admitted to that, but she does say that she didn't throw heavy objects. Because remember when he was like, In the video, Jamie says that Nikki had threw a heavy object at him on the back of his head, had a bump on his head. So she's saying that that's false. I never did that. But she can't lie and say that she didn't hit him because, we already seen that she admitted to that. I came to the house to collect some clothes and wanted to have a conversation. He kept calling me a slut and to get out of his house. I then requested that he drops the girls at the supermarket car park for changeover, and he says he would rather do it at a police station. This wasn't court ordered. At this point, I'm highly upset because why would you want to inflict that trauma on our daughters? Having change over with their parents at a police station every week, he just wanted to manipulate their minds and paint the picture that mom was so dangerous that dad needed protection. Well, I mean, you could flip that either way, but I love how he left off the part because I don't know. I could be look, we were not there, so we're just gonna believe what we believe at this point. Let's be real. But I do believe he called her a slut, and I think it's very interesting that he doesn't ever mention. I think when you're telling a side of a story, you have to mention like what you did wrong as well. And the fact that we don't hear him say I called her a slut, we don't hear him say I called her this, we don't hear him say any of that stuff. We just hear what she has done to him. So I think that's very interesting, and it makes me not fully believe everything he's telling us, everything he's saying. It doesn't make me believe his motives. Like, what are the real motives behind this? It makes me very like, what's going on? But I do believe he did say that he wanted a restraining order against her. So it would make sense for him to be like, I would want to change at the police station. So that does make sense. That does keep up with the story. But I find it interesting that Jamie, he never once is like, I called her a slut or I did this, right? It's very interesting that he left that out. So, oh, this is kind of small fonted. Let's read this. I smacked the camera out of his hand because I was in a vulnerable moment and didn't want to be recorded. That sound about right. That looks about right. This was a pattern where he would constantly violate me by filming me without consent. It started early at 18. Then when I gave birth, he posted my very personal birth vlogs without giving me any time to emotionally recover. I remember begging him to give me time with our new baby before we shared her with the world, but he told me to stop sabotaging the channel. When the cameras were rolling, Jamie was very sweet to me, but behind the lens, he was highly critical. My body after children quickly became a main topic, and he expressed me needing to hit the gym 3 weeks postpartum with Ava. He would repeatedly comment on my stretch marks and loose skin, asking why I couldn't snap back. He blamed me for absolutely everything. Nothing I could do was right, and I was at fault for everything or for anything that went wrong in his life. So that's also kind of like, why do I believe this too? Like, I believe like what these two are both saying, but they're telling their side of the stories. What's interesting about this family channel or used to be family channel is that these two, you can tell they're both telling their sides of the stories, but they're both also at the same time leaving out what they did. So I believe this happened, but I also believe she did what he said, and I believe he did what she said. This sounds all believable because it's all when you listen to the hour and change of a video, you could really be like, okay, this makes sense that he would want to, when they had to drop the kids off, it makes sense that he would want to meet at the police station because he did go to the courts for a restraining order. So that makes sense why they would fight. So this is all adding up to me. It does suck that he had those comments to say about her skin, but that was their marriage. So shortly after that encounter, he tried to get a restraining order on me. Not only did he put himself down as a protected person, but also our two young daughters. If he was successful in obtaining that, I would not come within 200 miles of them. Or meters? Miles? Miles. Seems like that. Miles. His mother enabled his behavior and signed a witness Okay, let's start that again. His mother enabled his behavior and signed as a witness that she saw me beating him in front of the children. The clip you saw of me smacking the phone, and they took this evidence to court. I put a counter complaint on him, and it was up to the judge to decide. He knows there's nothing I love more than our daughters, so he used that footage to silence me. We never went before a judge. Instead, he had his lawyer present an undertaking, which conveniently included that the children could continue being filmed for YouTube. What? What? Let's read that again. Instead, he had his lawyer present an undertaking which conveniently included that the children could continue being filmed for YouTube. So now we know what this is about. Like, now it's very clear that, like, he was, like I said, we need to compartmentalize here because it doesn't matter what she did by hitting him. Like, don't put your hands on anyone, period. However, he's in the wrong too. I don't like when people use their children to live off, to monetize off on. And he's just like crying, reminiscing on the days where he was able to use his children to monetize. And now he doesn't have that anymore. So that's very interesting. Anyways, let's continue. It also included that we couldn't mention one another or our relationship online for 12 months. We both signed it because I had no intention of making this public and didn't want to risk the chance of not seeing our girls. He has been free to speak on this since 2020. That's interesting because I kept asking this whole entire time. I was asking why, what changed? Because because I'm like, if this happened and he had it on film, why wasn't he showing us, when it happened? But this explains why he used that as, he was very calculated. You can tell this man is very calculating. So that's what happened. Okay. Mm. Okay, so I guess she's just showing what they signed, yada yada. Okay. I never kept him from the kids. I said you can see them whenever you want. All I asked is that he stopped exploiting them. I saw how it affected me in the marriage, and I didn't want our kids to suffer the same confusion because dad was totally different when the cameras were on. In 2020, Jamie messaged my sister and was trying to get me back once he saw his views were still low, despite using the kids for the majority of his content. I had already filed for divorce, but he wanted me to change my mind. He came to my parents' house. We went for a walk, and he told me he wanted his family back. Or did you want the views back? It could be both. I said no, and our divorce was finalized in December of 2020. Since then, I've been negotiating their online presence and managed to get it down to one video a week featuring the kids. That's understandable. Come on, dude. Were you really crying because you couldn't use your kids in a content anymore? You couldn't use your kids for a meal ticket? You couldn't use your kids to pay the rent? All right. Anywho. This was across all platforms, including YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I worked very hard to lower their online presence because I saw how it affects them. I initially agreed to him filming with the kids as long as he pays them a percentage, but he refused that offer. Now we're getting the receipts. We are getting the receipts. Damn. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's continue. Damn, this is juicy. For my benefit, I would love for her to publish that video, but it's okay. Okay, let's continue. Okay. Damn, this is blurry. Let's read. He claims I was very vengeful, but after I left, he stole the channel, changed the password. This is so bad. He claims I was vengeful, but after I left, he stole the channel, changed password to the business email so I couldn't work with past clients, and changed our bank details on AdSense. So the revenue from our past vlogs went to his personal account. And this is why I see that. This is why I could see that happen. When you listen to the story, this is what was missing. He felt like he did a lot of the work, which he stressed. He did all the editing. He did this. So you could see him doing that. Like, they both, like I said, are telling the truth in my opinion, but they're both just not telling at the same time what they did to each other as well. Um, Okay, he kept the vlogs for himself, leaving me with zero memories of our children. I requested my full birth videos, but he kept them from me for 3.5 years. He used this as leverage so that I changed my stance on him making content with the girls. Part of the reason I vlogged was to have a memory diary of our babies as they grew, but he kept these from me too. So I love how he kind of like left this out. I love how he left this out. Like, bruh, like, you sat there and was like, I wasn't really into vlogs, but she was the one who was into vlogs. I love how you conveniently left this shit out. All right. We digress. Okay. I even asked for footage of my sister Sarah. He had all the hard drives and he told me they were destroyed. Please keep in mind my sister isn't your sister isn't alive anymore? I didn't know this. Um and they were the only videos of her I had to look back on and remember her. He knew our children and Esther were a sensitive spot for me, so he would use these two to control me. He would use these two things to control me. Damn. Jamie's health issues never stopped him from partying with friends, never stopped him from taking trips overseas while I looked after our children. When I did ask for assistance, he threw it in my face that I was the one who wanted kids. So I find it interesting that he claims he's too sick to work a regular job. Like I said, when you hear Jamie's stories, when you hear this, it is all matching up because he told us in that video he didn't want any kids. She did. However, we know she watched this video, or we do know her publicist did. We do know her team, someone who knows her, watched this video, right? So, for all we know, to play devil's advocate here, she's kind of what she's saying. She could be purposely trying to also to play devil's advocate here, align with his video. See, this is what you're missing. This is what makes sense. You know what I mean? So I believe her, but I'm just saying she could have done that. I even gave him ideas on what he could film. I told him he could make video editing content as he's a great editor or work a traditional job. I'm not limiting his capacity to earn. I simply put my foot down and said, don't exploit our children for monetary gain like he did with me. Jamie kept dragging me back to court and writing complaints to my lawyers constantly. The legal fees he incurred were self-inflicted. Damn. Hmm. His 40th birthday. Well, she's really diving in. She has a really good PR team because, like I said, this is better written than her saying it because we don't know the tone. We don't know. We have to kind of figure out for ourselves what her tone is and all that. So good on her PR team. All right. So his 40th birthday. On Jamie's birthday, the girls had school. They mentioned dad was going to Sydney for his birthday. He was aware she had a dental emergency, so I took the next available appointment, which happened to fall on Friday. I offered for him to take them instead as it was an emergency, and he said he'd rather take them out for ice cream so he doesn't miss his flight. The appointment was at 5 p.m. I picked the girls up from the local ice cream place at 4:40, and we went to our appointment. Jamie then left for the airport at 5 p.m. to catch a flight to Sydney. He made it sound like he didn't catch his flight. He made it sound like, okay, so he did in fact go. The things we're missing here. Okay. The dad play group. Okay, so at this point of co-parenting, I had reached my tolerance and wanted minimal in-person contact with him for the sake of Ava and Zoe. He would always have his phone out trying to bait a disagreement with me because I didn't want them being used in content. I asked him to put Zoe in school on Wednesday so I could completely avoid contact with him. One parent drops them off and the other one picks them up. This seemed like a great solution, but of course he fought me on this too. Had there been work obligations restricting him from changing his schedule, I would completely understand, but there wasn't. He had only been to this playgroup one time. He could have made other arrangements for the sake of healthy co-parenting. And for Disney, She's just answering it all. Okay, so for Disney, she writes, I had to take legal action for my girls to even attend school at their ages. In Australia, you start school at 5 or 6, depending on how early in the year you were born. Jamie wanted them to delay another year so he can milk them for views while they were in his care. I said no. Wow. We live in Australia and California. Huh? We live in Australia. Oh, okay. We live in Australia, and California was a very far flight. He had never taken them out of the country alone. I didn't want them to go, but I offered to come so the girls didn't miss out on the experience, but he knew if I was there I wouldn't like him filming them as much, so he made co-parenting the issue. I wanted to put our issues aside and give the girls some happy memories with both parents. I brought up the matter of schooling because he took me back to court and forced me to send the girls to this very expensive private school. This was his request, and I'm now responsible for their expenses. And I do believe that's true. And the reason why I believe that's true is because she was complaining about, I have to pay for this school. Now, he claims that he pays for 50% of the schooling. So I don't really know what to believe, but I do know she's at least paying for something because she was complaining about it. And it tracks up or adds up. Now, this is where she's probably going to cover her butt because she did mimic him for being depressed. She pretty much was like, whatever, didn't care. Depression is not something I would ever take lightly. The comments I made on the recorded audio were not okay. Before he pressed record, he was calling me crazy and said I needed psychiatric help, threatening to take full custody of our kids. So I stooped to his level. This isn't an excuse, and I apologize if these statements caused offense to anyone. Long story short, this was a very manipulative and calculated attack on not only myself, but this act will also cause collateral damage to our 2 children. This was a 4-year-old clip, and now these clips will remain online forever. I have moved on with my life. I'm in a loving she definitely had a PR team, guys. I moved on with my life. I'm in a loving, genuine relationship, and I'm finally at peace. Guys, I can read. I apologize. This smear campaign was made to not only garner. Sorry, it's kind of blurry. This smear campaign was made to not only garner sympathy from his audience, but to revive a stagnant YouTube channel, sell an unreleased children's book, and completely slander my reputation. Jamie wanted revenge for me putting my foot down and restricting how often he posts the girls online. It disheartens me that I need to even make these statements because most people with I swear guys I could read it, it's just so blurry. Because most people with discernment can see it for what it was. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to read this. To Ava and Zoe, I'm so sorry. Damn. Okay. All right. Damn. That definitely changes things. It changes things a little. Hey, Jess. You are mental and very stupid. What? What? Am I mental and very stupid? Is that for me? It's probably for me. Hey, Jess. Okay. So basically, here's how I feel about the situation. Now that kind of puts things like she kind of placed the puzzles together. She placed it together. So now it's making more sense. And I don't like the fact that he really just saw his kids as a meal ticket. And what does that say about you if you can't make your own? So now I understand why he can only post with his kids once a week. Make another YouTube channel. Do something for yourself. If you really want to thrive and do this thing, then you can do something else. You can be better. Stop using your children for content and views and clout. Like, I love family channels, but I don't like it when they put their kids like in the center of it all. So, long story short, they both, I think my opinions kind of still stay the same. They both need counseling. They both need therapy. I think that would really help them. But it's not going to help if they're not willing to actually want to do it together. Because, you have them bickering here, bickering there. But at the end of the day, therapy only works if you allow it to. It only works if two people are willing to actually, like, we're actually going to make this work. He needs to get over the fact that his kids is not going to be his meal ticket anymore. And the fact that he was bitching about having his kids now only once a week in my video, create another YouTube channel. If you can start Ubering again to make ends meet, you can still do that YouTube channel if you still want to. You shouldn't be monetizing off of your kids, but if you still want to do that, whatever. I mean, you shouldn't, but create something for yourself. I don't understand why that's just so impossible to imagine that you can create a YouTube channel to where you succeed in something that people want to watch for you, not because of your children. So he needs to get over that real quick. And I think that would really solve a lot, because it seems like his misery is just the fact that he can't film his kids online anymore. It seems to me like the reason why he wants to be a family again is to vlog again. So I feel like if he can just, like, honestly, create another YouTube channel, still keep pursuing Uber, do whatever it is that you need to do for ends meet, but get the fact that your children as your meal ticket, as you making it big, get that out of your head. He needs to start thinking, I can make myself big, because I think that's kind of the problem too, right? So, because she seems to be doing fine, 1 million followers on Instagram, like she seems to be doing just fine. And I think he needs to, there's a saying, and I love this saying so much: keep your eyes on your own paper. Don't that person start, even though they were together, that person's start is definitely always going to be different from yours. So I think that's really his problem. He needs to keep his eyes on his own paper. Everyone starts differently, everyone ends differently. So I think he just needs to get his mind out of that, and I think he'll be all right, because it seems like his depression is kind of geared towards YouTube and social media, and how it wasn't really working out for him anymore, and no views and yada, yada, yada. I think that's what it really is. But I think if you're able to get your mind out of that little funk of, this is how it was supposed to be, yada, 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 start over again. Life is short. I mean, but you can always, do something differently every day. Like, come on. Like, I feel like he just needs to get his head out of there, and he'll be all right. I think she'll be fine. She'll be fine. She'll be fine, just because she's killing it. It looks like she's killing it, at least. I don't know behind the scenes, but from where I'm sitting, it looks like she's doing all right. It's got to suck that he put that out there. Can you imagine waking up after signing something saying this video will never see the light of day if we do this, this, and this, and all of a sudden he decides to just post the video? Could you imagine? But she had to know at some point that could have an effect, that could come out. So she handled it. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't have all the statements that we just read. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't already have that cooked up already. You know what I mean? Kind of like, okay, if this comes out, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to take place. So you know what? I think she'll move on, or she has already moved on. I think her kids will be fine. Hopefully they'll be fine. If they're not, then they also need to go to therapy and get the help that they need, because out of everybody here, those are really the most important people that really matter in this situation. And like I already said, what he needs to do. But yeah, those are really my thoughts on this. I mean, I think these two just now need to keep it low, keep it quiet. It would be nice from where I'm sitting as a viewer, selfishly, to see the video that she didn't publish. I'm sure a lot of people want to see that, but she's doing the smart thing by not publishing it. However, if she does decide to publish it, we will definitely be having another one of these. Speaking about another one of these, I'm currently reading the Britney Spears book, and then I also have the Jada Pinkett Smith book. So the Britney Spears book, I'm going to, I think Tuesday's Halloween, so Monday, I'm going to do a live stream with each chapter on the Britney Spears book. I'm actually almost done with it. So I can't wait to do that. That's going to be my next live stream. And if for those of you who didn't see all of this right now, I am going to clip the part where I read her response into a video. So yeah, do you guys have any questions? Let's see. Before I exit. The pumpkin carving. Oh, yes. And Dave and I on the channel Dead on Dave, we're going to be pumpkin carving pretty soon, probably in an hour. But yeah, alrighties, guys. Well, thank you for watching, tuning into this live, and I will see you on Monday. We're going to go over Britney Spears. And yeah, alrighties. Bye, guys.